Ding, ding, ding. Round one. Fight. All right.
And just for everybody that's on the Facebook feed right now, that's already started watching the Facebook feed, Coach Rick will not be choking me unconscious today. I've already had that happen. It's happened from a triangle choke and from a rear naked.
No.
I'm good. We're good.
No.
I mean, that's how they got me up here. What are you saying? What are you saying?
Yeah, no.
That was like how you kind of coax, like, come up to Northern Virginia. We can Skype this. You can choke out Paul. I'm on my way.
All right, let's do it. 2-hour drive, baby.
Coach, they sold you a lie. I'm sorry to say.
And you're coming up from Richmond, so that's 95.
Yeah,
Yikes.
I got off at 17 right past.
Oh, good. Smart. Yeah. That was actually smart.
Well, Google was smart, not me.
Okay. All right. Going to the Fight Game podcast, and let me do that. And I'm just looking for this so I can see all the horrible, terrible things people are writing. Yeah. Which never happens. We don't get trolls, man. Not yet. We're not big enough.
That's amazing.
I'm sure you get enough viewers. I'm pretty sure some trolls will come out.
I'm telling you, man. I've never had so many fighter friends in my life. I've got so many. Who's that? Is that me?
I don't know.
Is that you, Rick?
What's that?
Oh, that's you. Yeah. Can you mute
turn down
the
the volume?
turn.
Please.
No, it always happens because
Okay, Paul, it's on mute.
There we go. Okay, cool.
Sorry.
All right, guys. This is Fight Game Podcast number 3, and I'm here with Paul as usual. Hello, Paul.
What's up?
This super Coach Paul. Are you cool with that? Because I'm going to start calling you that.
Oh, jeez.
Can I call you Super Coach Paul?
I would prefer you didn't, but if you have to, it's okay.
I do have to, so that's happening. Guys, as you know, this is the pod. This is the Fight Podcast. Okay, there's a lot out there, but this is the Fight Podcast, where we actually dive deep into the psychology, dive deep into the inner workings of the fight game, depending on who we talk to. Now, we've got a guy today. I was going to say, we've had a boxer on, Muay Thai masters on, but we've got a guy today that is a multiple master in several different martial arts. So much so that your school, MMA Institute, the webmaster can't keep up with his accolades.
Yeah. And I also not real comfortable with master, but yeah, I definitely don't think I've mastered anything.
And that's the truth. That's the mentality of a master, is that they're always learning, right?
Oh, for sure.
There you go. So you're on the right track. You're on the right track, Master McCoy, right? God, I won't call you that. Don't worry. I'll keep it Rick for now.
Perfect.
But yeah, he's got quite. You guys watching via YouTube. Or watching via the Facebook Live right now, you guys can see we actually put in his poster all his different martial arts. We're talking Sombo, karate. We're talking judo, BJJ. We're talking what did I miss? I'm missing one. Oh, Muay Thai.
Of course,
our favorite. So
I wrestled as well, but I guess you don't get.
And a wrestler, yeah, no, that counts. Martial arts.
Counts.
Actually, we should start looking into bringing some wrestlers in. I was never good at it. I've always kind of not looked at wrestling, but
we have a lot of wrestlers that we can tap into. You have Gutterman, you have Rick Humphreys, you have so many people in this area that just started for that wrestling base.
Probably Johnny Curtis.
Oh my God, Johnny Curtis!
He's actually coming.
Okay, he was on the Olympic ladder.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, he's the man.
Johnny Curtis is supposed to be coming in hopefully next month, actually. So
good.
All right, let me turn you up a little bit, Paulie. Paul's got that kind of smooth, seductive. It's part of his, game.
They say there's a delay on the Facebook Live feed. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happens.
Okay.
True Chase Walden is on. He says, "What's up, Rick?"
What's up?
What's up, Chase?
My man, Chase.
Out there in Virginia Beach area, so check him out.
Grindstone Athletics, baby.
There you go. All right, so as I was saying, we just thank you guys for coming on the show, and this is going to be an exciting one. We're going to learn. We're going to dive deep into Rick, and you guys won't believe the things that he's done in the martial arts, especially here in the Virginia area. So, without further ado, Rick, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me. And what's up, Robert?
There you go.
You would not.
Feel free to say what's up to everybody that's on.
Yeah. If you see somebody come on, they say what's up, then feel free.
Okay, what's up, Pete? That's my old school boy there. What's up, man?
Old school, huh?
Oh yeah.
I think he does UFC. I love that. People are like, you do UFC, right?
Jesus.
Not quite. So Rick, it's always tough the first podcast because we're always trying to get as much information to people that have never known you. They don't know about you. Okay. People from all over the world watch, and they just see dude with the sweet beard. You know what I mean? That tattoos. Oh, he's into martial arts, whatever. But I want to dive deep. So let's start off with, how did you first get into martial arts? Why did you get into the martial arts?
Okay, I actually started in 3rd grade, and it was kind of a happen chance that my mother put me into Judo, and I was pissed.
Okay.
No, I obviously it set the stage for the rest of my life, but
not enough punching, right?
Exactly. I mean, it was like one of those school or community center programs, and of course I showed up, and I've been watching some Bruce Lee, some the old kung fu movie.
Oh yeah,
and,
absolutely.
And they're like, we don't punch, and I literally went home and was like, I don't want to do this. My mom was like, I paid for it. You're doing it.
So that is amazing.
So you also come from a badass mom.
Oh yeah. I come from a line of badasses.
There we go.
Keeping the tradition, right?
Yeah, we could. Yeah, that's another podcast.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man. So she said, no, you're doing it. We paid for it. You're doing judo. Why'd she pick judo though?
I picked.
You picked judo?
I picked judo. I just didn't know what it was.
Oh, okay.
He was like, this is Japanese. There's some ass kicking going on here.
Yeah, it was under martial arts. Said judo. I mean, I didn't know the difference. I was in 3rd grade, but I didn't know the difference between karate, kickboxing. I mean, no.
Were you a wild kid?
Off the chain.
Really?
Oh yeah, definitely off the chain.
There's
very high energy.
There's a part of me that's not surprised, Coach. I'm
very high energy.
Put that out there.
Yeah.
So at what point did you go, this isn't so bad?
Probably 3 to 6 months in. Then like anything, you start to understand it and get better at it. You start to enjoy it. But then, I fell in love with it.
That's awesome. Yeah. And then later on you got into wrestling in high school or
6th grade.
Oh, 6th grade. Jeez.
Yeah.
God, do they do 2-a-days in 6th grade?
No. And I got junior high, and I kind of sucked, and then I started doing club wrestling and freestyle and Greco, and I actually fell more in love with that than.
Where was this?
In Salt Lake.
Salt Lake City?
Yeah.
That's where you're from?
Yeah.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. Another guy that moved to the D.C. area for a job, I bet.
No, actually, because I was a wild kid, I had some issues at home, and my grandmother lives out in Tappahannock, Warsaw area.
Well, get the out of here. My mom is from Tappahannock.
No way.
Dude.
Yeah, I lived in Tappahannock for a while.
There's nothing going on out there.
No. Actually, when I first started fighting, I lived in Warsaw, and I used to drive to Richmond.
Everybody. Okay, for people that don't know, the part of Virginia he's talking about is miles of farmland, miles upon miles. The big city, it is laughable. It is a small town, farm, country style of people out there, which is good.
It was a big deal when we got a Walmart.
Walmart's huge.
Yeah.
Dude, they're still like 50 years behind back there. I was there not that long ago. And everybody goes to Richmond because that is the big city out there.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely, if I went out, besides hanging out in a parking lot.
Parking lot, exactly. So you were out. You came out here because you're a wild kid, like you said.
Yeah, well, I was 17, almost 18, so I was almost an adult, so to speak. So. Oh
man, and did they have a good program out there for wrestling and stuff?
Yeah, great program. Utah has really good wrestling. Schultz was the head coach out there for BYU until Title IX destroyed the wrestling program at BYU.
What's Title IX?
It's essentially the title, I guess. I'm not sure. I'm going to probably butcher this, but you had to put almost as much money into the women's athletics as you did the men's. So
right.
any athletic, men's athletics that wasn't moneymaker, like football, basketball, stuff like that, or had a big tradition, just got scrapped.
Wow.
Jeez, man. And that happens all over.
Killed wrestling. Like, as I at a college level, a lot of big, good programs over the years.
When did that happen anyway? Were you wrestling when that happened?
No. I was sometime in the 90s, I believe.
Okay. So let's fast forward, okay? So you, speaking of the 90s, because we talked a little bit before we started the show, like a lot of people, there was a particular event that happened that got you into mixed martial arts. What was that?
Of course, the UFC. So I'll tell the story. So at the time, it wasn't even on TV. I guess you could have got pay-per-view. I didn't actually see it live. I went and got some like B movie. I don't even know what it was. Tack of something, whatever. And at the beginning of the movie was some clips of the UFC as a promo. I literally rewound that. Of course, this is VCR.
Yeah, VHS baby.
VC.
For some
what?
of you, the millennials,
you
you
guys
had
don't
to
understand
insert an
this.
actual contraption into another machine that actually played video instead of just streaming from Netflix.
And there was something called rewind. You guys don't know what that means. But when you got to the end of the whatever movie, you had to wait for it to go all the way.
Yep.
And people actually bought these machines that were just for rewinding.
Yes.
So it would rewind really fast.
Yeah.
Stone Age. So you watched it on VHS?
Yeah. So I sat there. It was like, hold on, is that like for real? And you're watching, I can't remember the guy's name. The guy getting his tooth knocked
Not
out of his head.
Akibono, but it was the sumo wrestler that got kicked by the Sombo guy.
It was a Savat guy.
Oh, Savat guy, and the teeth flew out of the
and I'm like,
cage.
holy crap!
Yeah,
that's like legit. So the next day, I couldn't wait to get to the video store. I think I stayed up at night. Like, holy crap! I gotta see if they have this. And I walked in, they had I think it was the first 3.
Okay.
And I got all 3 of them. And the next day, I was hunting for a place to train. It was that quick. Because the one thing, even then, besides the little skinny guy named Hoist Gracie, they brought in wrestlers and stuff like that. I realized that because I never looked, even though I did judo, and I was definitely spent more time wrestling than I did judo. I never really looked at wrestling as a martial art.
Right.
And it was just all of a sudden just clicked in my head. Holy crap!
You need that.
I'm more badass than I thought.
Yeah. Wait a minute. I can use this in a street fight?
Yeah, and it was funny. Obviously, I did get into street fights as a kid because I was a little wild. And what did I always do? Drop people on their head, then pound them.
Yep.
Right.
But still, for whatever reason, never clicked in my head. And I think I told you, one of my best friends growing up, his name was Roger Pettit. They owned a big martial arts studio, American Kempo. And I worked out with him all the time, kickboxing. And he would just beat the shit out of me. And every time I get a hold of wrestle, we just stop. Take it back. Roger, if you're listening.
I wonder why, right?
Yeah.
Because he didn't want to, it's funny because being an instructor or a master, nothing worse than, especially back in the traditional days, if a kid did know wrestling and went into the wrestling, like you said, everything stops. You're like, whoa, you're not following the rules.
Yeah, exactly. And I was fine with it, and I learned a lot from it. And I definitely, because it was kind of that I was telling you, like back in the old PKA days, above the waist kickboxing heyday. So I started kickboxing somewhat traditional when I was like 13.
Yeah.
Even though it wasn't it was just me and him. He was really, really good at the time. So yeah.
Wow. What kind of master was he? Like, as far as what was his training style?
Kempo, American Kempo.
Well, like when he trained you.
We just beat the shit out of each other.
Okay, so
training style was I was his punching bag.
It was pretty much exactly like what Scott and Sean were doing out
exactly.
in Ohio. They were killing
knockdown, drag out, baby. You're bleeding.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Trial by fire, man. Which is great. People don't train like that as much anymore, just because they're looking to make careers and stay healthy for as long as possible. But it's something I feel like a lot of people are missing in their life. A lot of men, especially, are missing in their life, is this sort of actually hitting each other?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, we used to skip school and go pull in other people just to go and beat up on each other.
Dang.
That's awesome. So how long were you there at the Kempo school?
I mean, on and on, like I said, he was like my best friend growing up. So for quite a few years, we just, like I said, it wasn't nothing. Like I wasn't a member of they had a school.
Yeah.
I just was his friend, so he just beat up on it. Not more him beating up on me, but
Because you are a multiple Dan master in several martial arts. I mean, anybody who knows anything about like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, it takes a long time to become a master in that. It takes if you're doing it right, if you're not just buying a belt, right?
All right.
It takes a long time to become a master in Judo. Muay Thai, it takes a pretty long, not as long, but it takes a long time. And
it's dedication.
It's dedication, right? So you went from Kempo, but how did you get into Sombo, and how did you get into Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu? When did that happen?
It all kind of happened because the journey began. I want to do MMA, right? So the obvious choice at that time was Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu because at that time UFC 1 through 3 Hoist.
Yeah.
So I found a school and it was American Open style karate, and fortunately for me, he had some connections in Richmond that he's like, hey, these guys are doing this. They have some, it was a bunch of hard heads like myself trying, So I started going up to Richmond, and at that time, that school was under Half Gracie, which is, I guess it's Henzo's brother.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. And
they don't play.
No. It was definitely a little harder.
When you first heard about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, for me, like coming from traditional martial arts, did you get weirded out? You're like, wait, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? I thought that was a Japanese thing. What are they doing? And then I remember looking at it going, this can't be as good as Japanese Jiu-Jitsu.
No, because I dabbled in martial, because through the years, I didn't mention that, I would just dabble in martial art. From Taekwondo to Shotokan I would just show up to random places and I said, yeah, martial arts, because I was always interested in it. So I wouldn't say I thought anything of it. I mean, I saw the effectiveness of it. And
yeah, see, that's where I went wrong, because I heard about it before I saw it.
Okay.
And I was like, no way. Brazilians can't be that. You know what I mean? Brazil's known for like Rio and stuff and dancing and fun. That's not
Pele, soccer.
Yeah, that's not a martial arts place, but that's the national sport of Brazil right there.
Well, what happens is, and why Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is, it's essentially the rules of the game. So Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu came from Judo, right? So there's some iconic moves of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, like the triangle choke and some stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's Judo. But the rules of the game was rewarding the ground fighting, where in Judo, the reward is dropping them
in
on
the stand-up portion.
Yeah, that's where you get your point. That's where you can finish a match instantly. Obviously, so traditionally nowadays it's totally changed. There's some badass judoka that are also black belts in in Jiu-Jitsu, because they've evolved. And that's what happens. It's evolved. So you play the game. I mean, look at MMA. MMA started style versus style.
Right.
And we quickly found out grappling. Not necessarily. It was grappling started killing it. And then strikers learned anti-grappling. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, striking became cool again. And then we had these evolutions. And then it started the evolution of, hey, this guy's always end up on a cage, and they started doing cage work, and all of a sudden there's an evolution of, hey, let's put everybody on the cage,
right?
Oh, and there was cage walk and using the cage to your benefit. So there's an evolution, and now we have what we have now. But it's all because the rule set you're placed in, and you start gaming it,
right? And
so Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, all it is Judo with a heavy emphasis on ground fighting, and then it became its own art.
I believe I can't. It never ceases to amaze me that different martial arts, like if you're watching professional mixed martial arts, you would, looking at it, you'd go, man, this is always going to be, like when we first saw Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, the thought was that is as long as you're a master in that, you'll never be beaten. And now we're starting to see things like karate, flashier kicks and moves.
Wonder Boy.
Wonder Boy. Thank you, Wonder Boy.
Sage Northcutt.
Thank you. Can you please give me who's the Spanish dude? Who's the Spanish dude? Spanish last name. That's amazing. Who did he just fight? Not last name's like Diego or something. But anyway, terrible. I'm terrible with remembering the names. But there's these guys that now it's like, oh man, well, now we got to figure a way to stuff a dude doing a
a tornado kick.
Yeah, a crane kick. Now Ralph Macchio can get in there and kick some ass. It's amazing how the evolution is never ending, and it keeps going from here to there to there. And I wonder, like, what's the next thing? Like, once they figure out how to stuff a guy that's so well rounded, then what? Like, where do we go next?
I mean, it's definitely still evolving. It's not evolving as quickly. The thing now is, well, one, thank you, Internet. The information's out there. I mean, I came up in a time, besides the information in your school, there was this thing. We didn't have Facebook, we had forums.
Yeah.
And we traded tapes. Like back to the VHS. We would hey, you got this tape, I got this tape, and we'd make copies and send it across country. Or I traded with people over in Japan.
Whoa, really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. So that's how information was shared. Now information, I could just say I want whatever, type in Google or YouTube.
Yeah,
and
your Muay Thai is my Muay Thai now, and your Jiu-Jitsu is now my Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, like especially in Jiu-Jitsu schools, man, it was like there was like secrets.
Yeah, you kept stuff close to the chest.
Yeah. They like don't, or like say I'm gonna go out and cross train. They're like, okay, but don't show this stuff. Yeah. I was literally told that stuff. Like, and I'm sure it was other people were doing the same thing.
Does that still happen today?
No. I mean, there's some people that are closed off, but I mean, it's stupid at this point. Like, there's no secrets.
So
you gotta learn.
So where's your competitive advantage now?
There's being at the right school, being with the right people. Like I say my school, I'm part of the puzzle. I'm not the puzzle. I mean, I have a lot of people around me, good coaches, good students, good training partners.
Arvin, David Morris.
Yeah,
So really, it comes down. The competitive advantage now is a personal thing where how hard are you training and what's the training style?
Yeah,
as opposed to what's the move.
Oh yeah. The moves are nothing. I mean, they're everything, but I should say they're nothing. You have to have moves. Honestly, I've even gone more to concepts over moves because a lot of moves have the same concept. And I'll tell you one thing that I do that I think a lot more coaches are doing now. I never tried to make anybody me.
That's so good.
That's awesome.
Like everybody has their
tools.
Their tools, and what they have. Some people are quick, some people are big, some people are strong, some people have good distance and timing naturally.
Some people are short like me and Paul.
Everybody has attributes, right? And I pride myself in kind of making people showing what I know, showing concepts, and then they making it their own stuff.
Letting them get to their best self through knowledge of concepts and understanding. Before you came, Paul, Rick and I were talking, and I was talking to him about the difference between a school in Richmond and a school up here. Okay.
And not the quality of the school, but the quality of the people sort of that go to that school.
Okay.
And Richmond is, even though it's the big city down there, you still get a different type of student down there than you would up here for the most part.
Very true. Y'all got some gnarly ass people down there,
dude.
Like, just tough as nails.
Have you seen? Okay, if when I was making Rick's poster for this episode,
What's up, Coach Brian?
I'm going through all of his photos and photos that people have taken with him. And the cadre of killers. that Rick has around him.
Yeah.
Just
man.
like, okay, guys, remember Rocky, I guess 2, where Rocky goes and trains with Apollo Creed.
Yeah.
And he goes, let's go to my gym. And they go there. See in their eyes, Rock? That's the eye of the tiger. Everybody that's in this photo, these photos with Rick all have the eye of the tiger. It's disgusting. Like, scary. You got killers down there, man.
I'm blessed. Yeah, I'm definitely blessed. I mean, one thing, obviously, I built a reputation, so I tend to attract the killers. And by guys that really want to do it. If you live in Richmond and you really want to fight MMA,
they know who to see.
Yeah, there's good jiu-jitsu down there. There's good, obviously fitness kickboxing and stuff like that. I'm not going to talk bad, but why would you if you're serious?
If you're serious,
if you're serious,
you're not going to LA. Well, let me rephrase that. There are some we do know some killers at LA boxing.
Okay, there's always exceptions because again, the attributes. I will say I have a guy, George Shepard. He actually hasn't been in the gym for a minute, but
hear that, George? Get your butt in the gym, bro.
Right? Dude, he actually was a good wrestler, but I think he won a state championship wrestling after like 2 years of wrestling. Like, he's just a freak. He could have went to the local Taekwondo school and went so far. He went, I think, before he came to me, he was like 6-0 as an amateur and had a couple pro fights and had no training.
Just a natural animal.
He just got it. And he hits. Like, he was a 155er. Probably, he had a weird kind of strength. Like, squeeze, he was like a bull constrictor. He literally grabbed me because he was like a big kid all the time and, like, squeezed me. And I wouldn't let him know it, but it kind of hurt. You didn't hear that.
And then you proceeded to teach him how to hurt people more.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Awesome.
Exactly.
So you, people don't know, we've got a guy here that was instrumental in bringing MMA to Virginia and probably other places too, I'm sure, like DC area, Maryland.
Any place I can help, I've tried to help for sure.
So tell me about that. When did you start getting into bringing professional MMA here?
Well, jeez, man, I've also, because of time, have worn a lot of hats. Like I said, I've done everything. Obviously, I fought, I've coached, I've reffed to the highest level. I've reffed in the UFC. I've promoted. I've helped with sanctioning. I was on the advisory board for 8 years for the Virginia Commission. I just, if I was at some point, I wouldn't say I was trying to do too much, and I've definitely come back from that. I don't think single-handedly I've done anything, obviously. I've just been part of the process. I will tell you this, we in Virginia were ahead of the curve big time starting out. Like, we're talking 95. Virginia was the East Coast. They had, like, Extreme Challenge out in, like, Iowa, and then you had the West Coast. So, like, people used to come to Virginia from, like, New York, New Jersey, where now they have a great scene.
Yeah.
People all the way from Florida, all of the Mid-Atlantic, everybody used to come to Virginia to fight. Like, Virginia was the place.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy to me.
Because there's a lot of bad people came, and I'm not even going to say names, but a lot of people, a lot of infighting. Everybody wanted to get their piece of the pie without doing their work. And it really just kind of crushed the scene around here. And the legit, there's a lot of legit people that are still around. I don't know if you guys know a good friend of mine that's named Chad LeBron, owns a lab down in Fredericksburg.
Yeah.
He just has nothing to do with fighters. Amazing martial artist. He works at Quantico a lot, does a lot of the stuff up there. There's just people like that, like super legit, just are done with MMA.
Really?
In fact, he sends me his fighters. And, like, they come down and train with me. A couple of them even moved down with me.
He got burnt out?
Yeah, it's just tired of the politics of... I don't even know if they're politics. It's just like...
It's the best way to describe it, though.
Yeah, it's just like...
The red tape and the
Yeah, and a lot of people like I said, a lot of people will come in that haven't put their time in. They really don't even have big connection to martial arts. And it really happened after the first Ultimate Fighter, 2005. First 10 years... like, real martial artists were in. Like, before it got popular, like, the first 10 years I was doing it, like, there was assholes, but everybody respected everybody. We were all doing it for the same reason. There was no fame or fortune. You did it for the love of the martial arts.
Right. Yeah.
And, you know, it's great. I never thought I'd make a living at this, right? So I can't complain that the sport blew up, but a lot of bad things came with it too. A lot of people that come in with, you know, selfish reasons, I guess you'd say.
And what are you talking about? Like, are you talking about people that own schools? Are you talking about promoters?
Promoters and stuff. Mainly I mean, there's definitely some fake ass school owners there too.
All right, you want to start?
I was keeping it real. I ain't gonna name names.
You're not gonna name names.
I'm not gonna name names.
Leo's got his pen out like got a list here, and let's just start.
But that's gonna come with anything, right? Because let's look at the barrier to entry. There is none.
Right.
And
you're right.
You know, I mean,
you mean to become a promoter? There's no barrier to entry?
No, to be anything in this, like, you know, one thing nice about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, like, they kind of police themselves.
Yeah, you got to prove it.
Yeah, you got to prove it.
If you say you got it, you got to prove it.
Yeah, where a lot of other martial arts, you know, a lot of other martial arts were theory-based anyway. That's, you know, like, hey, I got the death touch. Can't show you. I don't want to kill you.
I don't want to kill you now.
You know, so that was one. You know, another thing that attracted me to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu was like wrestling. It was either you do, you don't. There was no. I'm going to talk about it.
Right.
So,
wow. And so, are you still like you talking about these guys that?
Thanks, Ethan.
You talking about these real guys that, you know, kind of are done with it.
There's a lot of them out there. Like nobody even knows who they are, and I actually kind of find that sad. Because there's a lot of guys I came up with, like that's what separates me from some of the guys. Besides a few other things, I took it even more. Like I kind of quit everything and did it. Where other guys coming up, they had their jobs and were doing it. That's kind of what separated me from them. But they they almost all quit when it got popular, which is kind of crazy if you think about it.
Yeah.
Amazing talents with great knowledge that they could probably
intentions,
help with.
And then they saw all these people trying to send what they would say rape the sport.
Yeah.
Come in and they're just like
that's a great way to put it. It's exactly what you're talking about. They came in, they're trying to take what they can take and leave.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow. So, but you're still in.
Yeah, I'm hard headed.
You haven't given up.
I haven't given up. I wouldn't say I've ever. I mean, I've gotten to the point, like, this is even funny, I just ignore it. Like, some people, you know, I get trolls, I get people, talk about trolls, I get people, and they think I don't hear it, but people tell me everything, you know, people, oh, so-and-so's talking shit. So, I mean, and I could guarantee you, if you're truly talking shit, especially about my skill set or what I've done, you're a nobody. Like, you don't
even know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you're a nobody. Like, if you've said something because, you know, you know me, I'm passionate. There's some piece. I'm sure not everybody likes me, and that's fine.
Right.
But if you're talking shit about me in what I've done or whatever, and it's used almost across the board every time, I'm like, who the hell? Half the time I don't even know who they are. Or if I know who they are, they've definitely done nothing.
So they're either a troll or they're trying, like, kind of in rap battles, where when you put out your song and you're a nobody. You go after like Eminem or somebody to try to get people to start talking about you.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is.
And that's kind of what's going on with MMA with, you know, guys like Conor McGregor, guys like Chael Sonnen, who they are rewarded Floyd Mayweather
for talking the big game.
The big game.
Yeah,
but
I don't like it.
Martial artists don't really do that. Like,
you know, I actually like Chael. I like Connor. Mm-hmm. I think I get why they do it. And to me, those two,
it's part of the game.
Those two especially are witty.
Yeah, they're good at it.
You know what I'm saying? They're not. I don't know. I guess they're being dicks. So I shouldn't say they're not being dicks, but they're
playing a role.
It's more of a game to them. They're not. It's not. I don't even think there's bad intentions. It's just they are trying to. And it's obvious. I mean, Connor.
So
man, $100 million. Who's going? I'm not a hater.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And I don't mention them because, like, you know, I'm not trying to throw shade on them. What I'm saying is everybody's trying to be them.
Yeah, and they suck at it.
Yeah.
You just sound like a douche.
You sound, especially if you can't back it up, right?
Yeah, well, then there's that, too. I mean, I got some guys coming up, and that's what they're seeing. And I'll tell them, come on, guys. You know, that's, you know, and I'm not even say my guys. I mean, I'm only going to babysit so much.
Oh, baby. Yeah. Okay.
But, you know, I try to direct, you know, I'm like, hey, that's not cool. That's not, you know.
Now, in your gym at MMA Institute, what you're the guy, you're the top guy there as far as like you started it and you're the
Right.
the owner and all that.
I got a lot of amazing coaches, so that's
So
I had to say I'm just here, and then I got a lot of great people under me. So.
what is the organizational strategy look like? So as far as how much time are you spending on the mat, on the in the cage, in the ring, and how much of that now do you delegate out? Like
I delegate a lot at nighttime. The mornings, I kind of run the mornings, and then I have Brian Nelson. He's kind of my second in command. In fact, like when I'm done, I'm giving part of my school to him. That's
cool.
He's like my son.
Hey, that's like Scott and Paul over here.
Yeah.
Paul's going to take over Disciple.
Yeah, no.
You like Scott's son?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's Scott's son right there.
He'll always say that I'm his right hand man, but I'm really my role with John Scott Howard is I'm Jiminy Cricket, and that's what he's always nicknamed me as. He's like, anytime something starts to escalate, I'm the guy that's like, John, maybe you don't say that out loud. Just just keep it amongst us, and
You're his PR person.
not his PR person, but it's just funny because there are things that if he starts to get upset about something, I'm the guy that like tries to calm him down.
I need one of those.
Everybody needs a Coach Paul, man.
Yeah. Ethan Chandler, just so you know, Coach, he's a godfather of MMA in Richmond and great guy too. So
Yeah, appreciate it, Ethan.
The Godfather. Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
That's good. That's a good name right there.
Hey, Coach, real quick question: how long did it take for you to get your black belt, and who did you get your black belt from in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It took me 12 years, and I got it from Kazeka Muniz.
Okay.
Yeah,
Very cool.
12. And I'll always tell people everybody's like 12 years. I was focused on MMA.
Yeah.
I did Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu the whole time I was training, but I never really cared about belts. That's another thing. It's so weird to me now. Like everybody's so worried about belts.
Yeah.
I was never. Yeah, it just I was a purple I think for like 5 years.
That's cool.
I just didn't care.
What are they? There's a nickname for purple belt. Purple belt is the working belt or something. They call it like the rolling belt or something like that.
I've never heard that.
There's a lot of things. I mean, purple belts. They always say that purple belt's the black belt without the experience. Like by the time you get to it, if you're a good purple, you know all the basics. You know all the basic principles. There's like I said, I'm a black belt and I'm no shit. But you have you have the purple belt's that level where you understand jiu-jitsu. Now it's just experience, and obviously you're going to keep on learning, but. Purple belt's that level that you really do. You understand jiu-jitsu at purple belt. Now it's just time.
And
keep on with it.
Do you still roll?
Very, very, very rarely.
Okay. And do you do gi or no gi?
I prefer both. I'll do
okay,
both.
you'll do both. Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Man, my back hates me at this time. I actually, if you look at my X-rays on my back, people are really like, "It's surprising you're walking," and I'm not that bad. I have like 6-7 points on my spine, like just snapped off.
Jeez, that's common. That's common
cool.
for jiu-jitsu players, though, right?
Yeah,
they have bad neck and back injuries, don't they?
Yeah, over time, I think it's probably more from judo and wrestling. It's just, man, there was a time you couldn't hurt me, but I was definitely hurting me. I was just too dumb and just to ever slow down. I was just always like, dude, just grind and grind and grind. And there were some injuries I had that definitely put me out, but I always came back too soon because I always had to get back on the mat, and that slowed me down too. But
I don't know a lot of Sombo martial artists. Can you talk about how you got into that?
So back when I started, Sombo was one of those things that definitely wasn't what I wanted to do or anything. It was, hey, I wanted to compete. So besides actual MMA, there wasn't that many jiu-jitsu tournaments at the time. Mm-hmm. I was doing jiu-jitsu. I was wrestling. I would actually still try to find freestyle tournaments. And one of my main training partners back then, a total badass, Dave Womack's like, hey, there's this, I gotta do it. Hey man, there's this stuff called Sombo, and it's just like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but they have leg locks.
Oh yeah.
Oh Lord.
Yeah. So I just started competing. They had the East Coast regionals down in Virginia Beach.
Okay.
And I went down there and won it. It hit my division. He won it in his division actually. And so I got with this group, and that group started belting. It was kind of a weird thing at the time. Like, anybody that really knows the Sombo history, and there's some people out there, there was a group, Lloyd Irving, actually Dan Severn, there was all this group that started belting in Sambo. It was like a short-lived thing. So if you have a belt in Sambo, you're in this little time period.
That's cool.
Oh, yeah, that is cool.
Yeah, or you're under somebody that was in that time period.
Sure.
Yeah. And, you know, I excelled at it, competing-wise. And so I started training with the guys that were good at Sambo, and there's, you know, quite a few, mainly up in PA, and that's another story. God, I don't even know if I even want to get into that. Well, I'm going to get into it because this is one of those things that, because it's lineage. So, and this is one of those things, I can cuss on this, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay, it fucked me up. So, you know, so there was this guy, his name was Mark Densberger. And he was kind of like, we'll say, the godfather of Sambo in America, that American Sambo Association, and good-ass grappler, blah, blah, blah. And he had a couple sons. He was actually, when I say his sons, he adopted. And they were like young little badasses. Everything was cool. And I saw something weird about this guy. But this is where everything fell apart. That's why I say, like, he was the guy that started this ranking system, and everybody, because he was the dude, and that's, like I said, through competing, I won, you know, nationals, won the Pan Americans in Sambo, and after all that, all of a sudden I get a phone call. He's like, "You won't believe this." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Mark just got arrested for fucking his kids."
Whoa.
Oh.
Yeah. Like,
Jeez.
yeah, that's punishment. Like, they came in there as videos like these, and dude,
That's tough.
That's insane. What?
yeah, I haven't really talked about it, and this is hello world.
It's an exclusive. Jeez,
Breaking
Louise.
story.
I mean, it was on the internet at the time, like forums back then, because like I said, this was before Facebook.
That is a hell of a punishment, man.
Yeah,
I'll never be bad.
But you know, like thinking, this is somebody I looked up. You know, I knew he was a little weird. You know, there's a lot of weird in martial arts.
Sure,
it
absolutely.
brings in all type of people, and man, I literally, for only time in my life, I can say I lost probably like 3 days of sleep. It fucked me up that bad.
Damn. That's brutal.
That is brutal. Oh my gosh, man. You know, we
You weren't expecting that, were you?
no, man. I was expecting a story where you got like beat up or something, and like, whoa, jeez, man. All right.
I just got like a dude.
Well,
Ahmad Hicks.
well, Rick, it was great having you on the show.
I just shut the show down.
And drop that mic, sir.
So
it
that
was just like I said, it's part of my journey, so I could talk about it, but it definitely, I've had great instructors. Don't get me wrong. I've had people I've respected and stuff like that. So there's more good than bad, but there's a dark side of martial arts besides just some crappy people. There's just because you're a good martial artist doesn't make you. Also, like I said, I was talking about earlier about people that have no cred in the martial arts coming in and trying to rape the industry. There's people with cred that are pieces of shit.
right.
Yeah.
You after an experience like that, how did that change how you look at other people, other martial artists, and things?
Well, I mean, I've never been stupid about like people. I mean, I understand the world's a bad place sometimes, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it changed how I felt. It's kind of just hurt my soul.
Yeah.
You know, somebody I
Had
looked
to.
up. Yeah, it was, you know, because there's really as far as bad people, like messing with children, it pretty much ranks up there. Like anything close would be elderly and animals.
Yeah.
You know,
You're getting that in jail. Like if you go to jail for that type of
he was a
beef.
prison guard too
Oh boy.
at Lewisburg Federal Penitentiary.
You're getting murdered in jail for stuff like that. That's
Yeah.
like other inmates will take you out for that.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So you were talking about Sambo. How much do you still train in Sambo, or are you done with Sambo?
I kind of, well, because I can rank because of the system and stuff, and it's kind of like that thing I do with a few people that are close to me that are good, kind of like a specialty. Like you're special to me if you get ranked in Sombo.
There you go.
Well, the thing is, Jiu-Jitsu has been known for not being okay with leg locks. Like that's not,
It's changed.
It's changed now.
It's definitely changed.
But you still got purists, like it was interesting when Paul asked you, gi or no gi, and that is still kind of a problem with some jiu-jitsu players who are like, no, you got to train no gi, train no gi. That's more important than train gi. That's more important than no gi, which is backwards, right? I mean, if you're going to be a mixed martial artist.
Well, I think they're both equally important, and it's, I think, like, if you want to be a complete grappler, even if you want to focus, like say MMA, the gi makes you it slows the game down. So
it also makes you more self-conscious of like handles, and
you're
worried about your positioning.
And you're not going to be able to use some handles, obviously, in MMA. But again, it goes back to concepts and making it a thinking man's game. Like to me, I've been around a lot of high-level martial art, and I've been around a lot of high-level UFC guys, and none of them that are high-level are dumb. That's a misnomer that people. Like, they think they're big meatheads and stuff. They might be meatheads, but they're smart meatheads.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's, like, you can get by on athleticism at a certain level, too. Like I said, there's attributes. But the best guys are smart. Like, across the board. Every guy I know that's high level or top 10 in the UFC, who's been top 10 in the UFC, if you talk to them, they're smart.
Now, what do you mean by smart?
Like they're intelligent. I mean, you can tell you're intelligent. I could have a conversation with you. You're not dumb,
right?
It's not. I'm not giving you an IQ test right now, but I know you're not dumb,
right?
And
it's not a knuckle dragging Neanderthal.
Yeah, pretty much. You're not just a savage. You can become a savage, but you're just not.
That's true too. You look at some of these guys in the UFC, top level guys. You can see in the interviews a lot of these guys becoming what do you call it, commentators and things. And they are smart.
Yeah, I mean, look at even going back in the day, all the different people that have like advanced degrees. You look at Chuck Liddell; he has a master's in finance. Rich Franklin is an accomplished mathematician. He has a degree in mathematics, and so it's like all of those things that like makes the fighters intelligent. And sure, you're not calculating and you're not running numbers when you're fighting, but that ability to analyze and that ability to strategize based on what's happening in front of you, that's a real critical component for a lot of fighters. And a lot of people think that, just because these guys know how to punch, kick, and choke somebody, that means that they're not smart, and that's really not the case at all. From what I've from what I've seen 100%. With everybody that I've ever trained with, cross-trained with, or even met in the game, you got a lot of these guys that just they on camera they can act like savages, but off camera they're some of the most intelligent people that you'll ever have conversations with.
What about Nate Diaz?
Dude, I'll tell you what, the Diaz brothers.
I got some stories.
Yeah. Oh, do you? Okay. So, and the only stories that I have are from what I have seen and heard. And like, there was one time I used to listen to the Sure Dog podcast way back in the day, and I remember. It was Nick Diaz actually that came on to do an interview, and the host, the host had to do was say, "What's up, Nick?" And then Nick went on a huge rant and just started like blasting people and all this stuff. And the guy was like, one thing I love about interviewing is that all I have to do is say, "What's up, Nate?" and "What's up, Nick?" and you're gonna go. And so those guys do have something to say. They definitely have their peace of mind that they want to get out there. So.
I don't think they're dumb. I think they're crazy.
Yeah, there you go. That's an important distinction.
Yeah,
like I said, because I do not believe you can get so far in this sport and be dumb. But so I'm gonna give you a Nate story. So I reffed the UFC that I didn't ref that fight, but I reffed the UFC that Nate fought. What's his name? The bully.
Gray Maynard.
Gray Maynard.
Okay.
And so I was the ref on the outside checking. The oil, check your mouthpiece, check if you have a cup. And I actually had lunch with him. I had actually had lunch with him. So we had not this rapport, but he knew who I was, whatever. Yeah. So he walks up, I go up to him and I touch him on the sides to check for oil, and I go to raise his arms.
Uh-huh.
He started pushing back
On your hands?
It started flexing and growling at me. And how do you get thrown off your game doing that? That's your job.
Yeah.
He threw me off my game. I didn't get to his legs to check. I was like, all right, you're good.
Jeez.
That's awesome.
So
Was he trying to? You think he was trying to get away with something?
No, I just think
That's his mentality.
That's his mentality. Oh, I got more. It gets better.
Oh, here
It gets better. So we'll just go.
I love having Coach Rick on the show.
Fast forward to 3 o'clock in the morning,
Okay.
and I'm hanging out with Amir Sadal. I fought that time, and I used to be his coach. And hanging out with him, I can't remember. It was probably 10 to 15 UFC fighters and coaches, right? Mm-hmm. So we've been out partying. Mm. We come in, we get off the elevator, and lo and behold, it smells like a weed factory. They must have been smoking right in the hallway. I don't know. So somebody jokingly, and it was Nate and 2 of his boys.
Okay.
Somebody jokingly says something like, "Oh, you guys are having fun," or nothing confrontational, nothing. And we pass each other onto the elevator. We're getting off. They get on. Nate jumps off and starts flexing. "You motherfuckers, you want some? It's like,
jeez,
you what the fuck?" And we all just stopped, looked at him, looked at each other, and started laughing and walked away. We didn't even know. It was just so. And it wasn't obviously he's a badass, but we had 10, 15 badasses, and he didn't give a shit.
He didn't care.
He did not care. That's legit. Jeez. And I said the day before I had lunch with him, 1-on-1, nice guy.
Yeah.
But you put him in the right situation, and he's batshit crazy.
Game face.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And I'm a fan. I'm not talking shit. I actually like the guy.
Yeah.
But he's real. What you say, Connor. That's an act. Some of it's real. Some of it's real. I mean, he's arrogant, blah blah blah. But the batshit crazy, Nate Diaz. That is not an act.
That's real.
That's real. that is definitely
who he is.
Yeah, that is who he is.
That is,
and that's why I like him. Honestly, what's funny is people like the Diaz's now.
Yeah,
I've always liked the Diaz brother, and they used to. They're disrespect. It's if you look back, especially I guess forums or Facebook posts to 7-8 years ago, people hated on the Diaz's.
Yep.
Yeah. Now everybody loves. Oh, they're real.
Yeah.
You used to hate. Same people are hating on him, mate. And I used to always like them for being real.
Where were you guys before? Do you feel like they've gotten their due in the game in UFC?
I think so. They of course they bitch about stuff. They got. I mean, hell. What did the Connor say? Is red panty night? I mean, he got paid.
Yeah, he did.
Good for him. I mean, hell, I'd fight Connor at this point just to get paid the kind of money you're going to get paid to fight Connor. I mean, it's and good for him. And I think they might do a number 3 they're talking about. We'll see.
Oh, well.
Okay.
I mean, if
I
people
remember,
buy it.
So as far as the Diaz brothers goes, I remember when Nick was still coming up, and he was just the skill and the talent that he had is just so deceptive to some people that don't really know what they're seeing coming from Nick. You're like, oh, he sucks. But yeah, go ahead and let him hit you with one of those 30% punches, and let him hit
punches
you
and bunches.
Yeah,
and he has good boxing.
Yes, absolutely. And I remember when he used to fight at 170, and then he all of a sudden got out of the UFC. He was out of the UFC for a while, and in that time, he dropped down to 45 and choked out Gomi with a go-go plata.
Yes. Yeah, high as hell.
It's insane.
Oh, was he high? That's right. That was the story. That he was high as hell.
They turned it to a no contest because they tested him right after, and the only way to have that level was you have just intake.
Yeah, he was in the locker room toking up.
Yes,
but yeah, he choked out Gomi with a go-go, and that was when Gomi was king in Pride.
Yep.
He was just
the grappling king.
Yeah.
Go plotted them.
Yeah.
God, I wish they'd bring Pride back.
We were just talking about that, yeah.
Yeah, I
Pride
wish
was awesome.
Pride was better than UFC in my opinion.
I do like the cage, and not because it's a safety issue.
Mm-hmm. The falling out of the ring.
Falling out of the ring is definitely a problem.
Yeah.
What about the soccer kicks? You have a problem with that?
Not at all.
Knees to the head on a grounded opponent.
Let me tell you what, I've taken knees because I actually fought a couple fights with total no rules. I always tell this story that when I started, that's just what it was. Yeah. It was because it was so early on. I literally almost quit when they started adding rules. I was like, what are they doing to my sport?
Yeah.
Messing it up, yeah.
I mean, it makes total sense now, and
Yeah.
I'm not complaining at all, and I probably saved a few brain cells.
Yeah.
I remember watching Kevin Randleman rain knees to I can't remember who it was that he was fighting. It might have been when he fought Fedor. But he was practically going into a handstand to try and drive these knees. He's trying to drive the knees through the ring floor. I was just like, yo.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been on the receiving end of knees, and they're not fun.
No, not even a little bit.
What can you tell me about that experience as far as taking those knees? What is it like?
I felt shorter. So, story. Actually, I was up in Plainfield, New Jersey. I fought this Russian cat. Russian wrestler. I have no idea I don't remember anybody's name. But
It's probably Oleg Taktarov or something.
yeah. Anyway,
Oleg.
this guy beat me so bad. He got tired of beating me.
You gassed him
I
out.
gassed him out. I shit you not. Yeah, there's Pete. Pete was there actually. Oh, he's 26. I thought it was like 40. He said 26 knees. I took so many knees. Dan Margliotta, the UFC ref, was a ref.
Yeah.
And I'm in my corner, just in all fours, getting kneed. And like I said, the guy's like handstanding, trying to knee through my head. And my corner's yelling at me. He's going to throw in the towel. Dan Margliotta is yelling at me that he's going to stop the fight. And I'm yelling at both of them that I'm fine.
Shut the hell up and let me do my thing.
Yeah, I'm like, you're making me get hit because I'm dealing with you guys.
Yeah.
And I literally, he stopped kneeing me because he got tired. We just got stood up. And he shot at him and I choked him out.
Yeah,
See?
Pete was just saying that Pete Hatcher, he was like, and then he won.
Jeez. Is there video? There's got to be videotape. of that.
Actually, I don't have hardly any video of any of my fights, but somebody sent that to. It's terrible footage. Like it's all like it looks all,
all
great.
grainy.
It's terrible, but actually there is footage of that.
That's one thing I like about you can go on YouTube now, and even camera phone videos, HD. It's amazing now. Back then, video of fights. It's like but I can't see anything. And is that his leg or his arm? I can't tell what's hitting the other guy.
Well, back when I first started fighting, they just didn't. Cameras weren't like there. I fought at events; they didn't have cameras.
Interesting video that I saw of you a long time ago was when you grappled against Ryan Hall.
Okay, right.
And that was back when Ryan Hall was like on his climb, when he was like, in all of like Grappling Magazine, Tap Out Magazine, and the Dr. Rangel series, and I remember you definitely put it on him when you guys were grappling. I don't remember.
He
what
actually ended up
tournament it was.
winning. Yeah, he actually got me in triangle.
Did he really?
Yes.
Oh wow.
It was like
Okay.
26 minutes or some shit. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I was exhausted.
One thing that we don't. I'm just thinking about all these fighters, especially now. I'm trying to do research on fighters that are coming out now, in this area, in the Virginia, DC, Maryland area, and it's so hard to, because it's almost like you have to go to each school's site, or you have to do a lot of research to find.
You're gonna have to dig. We have to dig.
You have to dig,
It's
and I
way
hate
easier
that.
now.
It's way easier now. You're
Yeah.
absolutely right.
Like
But
you're complaining, but my God,
Yeah.
it's so much easier. Like,
Before it was phone calls, driving to the gyms, and actually like
maybe if you can even get information, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I fought people I had, no idea who they were.
Yeah.
That's kind of a barrier for entry, I think, though. The fact that to put fights how hard is it now, or what are the difficulties now getting fights for your fighters?
Hard.
Really?
It's a lot. We get turned down a lot. So what ends up happening in my school, because either we fight. It's like we never get. I wouldn't say sometimes we get even matchups, and it depends on the fighter. So it's either guys that don't have great direction, or we're fighting studs. So a lot of times, like independents, which is crazy that they're even out there still.
Yeah.
Like, get a gym, guys.
Yeah.
Okay,
Join
where
a
it
gym,
is.
please.
Even if it's, in my opinion, a bad gym, get a gym. At least it's something. Or we're fighting really tough. Like, we're fighting the best guys out there.
Well, you guys fought. I don't know if you mentioned this already, but just last weekend, you guys fought in Atlantic City on CFFC, and you had 2 or 3 guys.
Originally had 3.
One of the fights fell out.
The opponent got hurt right before. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So I didn't get to watch who was the lighter person. Ben. So I didn't get to watch Ben's fight, but I did watch Scott's fight. We were watching.
I thought Scott won. What'd you think?
I told him, after the fight, and he'd already calmed down on all that stuff or whatever, and I just happened to be passing him, and I said, I tapped him on the shoulder. I was like, hey man, I don't care what anybody says, you won that fight. Yeah. It was close.
But all the damage
was on from Scott.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And I was watching, and I was
50-1.
Like, and I, again, and this could segue into an interesting conversation about scoring, right? Because I will say, for the first 2.5 rounds, Scott fought the takedowns beautifully. But then when he started getting taken down, nothing was happening.
Yeah, he'd light the guy up, and the guy wouldn't even let go of his clasp in his hand, even to hit Scott, because he was so worried about Scott standing back up.
Yeah, so
which should not have scored anything, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that's the thing to me, right? Again, if we're talking about unified rules, are we talking about, what is the objective of the game?
So I don't know if you know this. The unified rules have actually changed. The scoring system has changed.
Right.
It just changed, I believe, this year.
Yes.
So damage is what you're supposed to
Damage
score.
is king.
Damage is king, and takedowns are actually positional stuff like takedowns and stuff is supposed to be judged very last.
Yeah.
But here's the other thing. New Jersey has not adopted that.
Oh, okay.
So they're going by the old rules. So New Jersey's one of the last hold. And let me tell you, I love fighting in New Jersey because the one thing, like a lot of Nick Limbo gets a lot of crap because he's hardcore and a lot of people think he's a dick.
Yeah.
But the one thing, he's consistent.
Yeah,
I love. If you're a dick, just be consistent. Don't be a dick to some people and not to other people. Be a dick to everybody and be you know what I'm saying? Like
authenticity.
Authenticity. And Nick's the man. You know, like I said, I don't always I wasn't happy with the judge's decision with Scott and blah blah blah. But whatever. Like across the board.
Yeah.
I love fighting in New Jersey.
I don't agree with some of Mr. Limbo's stuff, but you are right. He will consistently be who he is to everybody, and I do respect that. Absolutely.
Who is he? What is his position?
Nick Limbo. Well, he's now the advisory board.
He's the legal counsel or something but he's not actually the athletic commission. I think is it Larry? I don't know somebody, but he's the face of MMA in New Jersey.
Yeah,
all combat sports.
Yeah.
In New Jersey, and New Jersey is second only to probably Vegas and it's probably like Atlantic City too.
Yeah.
As far as like the upper echelons of the kind of the athletic commissions.
Yeah.
And he's definitely one of the top guy in the ABC, but for some reason he's kind of against the new rules. And I've read some articles, but I can't really think back exactly why he has some issues with them. I know because the referees come into individually to the fighters, and the referee went over that one of the big rule changes is the 3-point rule for a down fighter, and they went over that is still the old rules. So now by the new ABC rules or the unified rules, having your hand,
it has to be flat,
and you have to do two.
Okay,
you have to have two, so you can't play that game like I get you in a bad position, you stick a finger down. Now you do that, you can get your head kneed off.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
No, I like it.
That's good.
It's because people are, again, remember I was talking about gaming the system. Whatever the rules are, that's kind of how stuff evolves. So there's people like, hell, I was teaching people, all right, you get here, just put your finger down.
Yeah. Get into a bad position.
I mean, you play by the rule set you're given, so it's not
absolutely.
It is what it is, but
now you can't hide behind that in most places.
Yeah.
But New Jersey still has that.
Yeah, and I don't know why. Like I said, I always kind of think of them as the upper echelon of athletic commissions, so I'm not sure exactly. And he's also on their boards and stuff, so he was part of the voting process and all that. And I know he pushed back on, and I just can't remember specifically why.
Okay.
Do we still here in the DC metro area and Virginia and all that? Do we still have the same issues of not having good qualified judges judging MMA?
You have it everywhere.
Really?
Like, it's not.
You'll have that.
It's like in a perfect world. Here's where I've got a lot of flack, and it kind of pisses me off because I'm connected with everybody. So, like in my opinion, the best refs in the state are really connected. Like some of my fighters, like Sean Spath, amazing referee. I can't. Mike King, amazing referee.
Absolutely.
And because they're affiliated. now, because I got so much, I used to not give a shit, but I got so much flack. I'm having to get into second tier refs because and they've never, ever, ever done me a favor.
No.
They never, in fact, anytime, because I've trained a lot of referees, because for a long time I was the referee around here. For years, like if I ref my own guy, I didn't even corner my guys because I was reffing. Because I was the ref. And I've obviously started
going back to like Valhalla, Operation Octagon, when it was Operation Octagon before it became Cagezilla.
Yeah, I've refed everything around. Like if it was just and there was not that many shows, I was the ref.
What are your top 3 shows in this area?
Man, they've gone down. The one show, Spartica. It's the one show that is really, most of the shows have kind of gone down, but Spartica's the one. They have a nice venue. They take care of the fighters. They're not worried. They're not. A lot of the fighters, and I get it's a business. So, but that's not my deal. So when I see you skimping on shit, and especially at the risk of the safety of my fighters, I don't give a shit. It's business. My business is taking care of my fighters.
What kind of things do you see them skimping on?
See, if I start naming stuff, I was going to call out certain people, and I told people I would not, because it would be very obvious.
Hey, Paul, what kind of things do you see people skimping on?
I'm not going to name any names.
Oh, come on, Paul. Paul, you're the co-host. You have to name names.
I'm not jumping into that.
I'm going to be politically correct or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I'll just say this. You'll see which shows I put guys on. You'll see which shows I don't. Yeah. And I do it, for reasons. And when people do right, I'll put guys on the show. Yeah.
And I think that, that's always the sketchy thing about as a coach. People think that your job is just to teach people how to fight, and it's really there's that whole protection piece that you have to think about. What are you putting your guys into? Is this really pushing their career forward, whether it's amateur or professional? Are you putting them in a good position for themselves? Sure, the fight's the fight, but everything else surrounding that. If you see promoters doing wrong,
who's the Fight Game podcast?
Somebody's asking if we need help calling them out, and if you're willing to come on this show and call people out, call out names.
I think I know who that is. I'm not going to name names, but I think I know who that is.
We can arrange for.
Oh, that's funny.
So, for you as a coach, when people approach you for fights with your guys, how often are you having to turn down promotions because of things like that?
I don't. If I use you, like say Spartak, we'll just go with Spartak because they're the ones I really like right now. I rarely turn down fights. Like, I'm not going to say I put my guys in bad position, but I like to test my guys.
Sure, absolutely.
And like it's rare. But on the flip side, I'm not going to. You can call me my guy a pussy or me a pussy. I'm not going to put my guy in something like. There's guys out there. I'm like, no, like he's not ready for that.
Yeah,
right.
That's like
and then
this guy's 10-0, your guy's 2-0, and they're trying to match him up. That's not
happening.
Yeah,
but I'm pretty. Yeah, it's rare that I'll turn down a fight. It's just getting the right promotion.
I meant from a promotion standpoint, from a promotional standpoint. Like, when certain promoters come to you.
I'm afraid because sometimes it just doesn't work. Because here's the other thing. Mm-hmm. So promoters, sometimes I don't use. It's about my schedule. Because if you notice, you rarely see one of my fighters without me.
Right. Absolutely.
And that if you see a fighter without me, it's most likely because I've double booked. Oh. And most likely if I double booked, it's either a really good opportunity or it's a pro fight and an amateur fight.
Right.
So it's rare that I double book amateurs. And that's what's mainly around here is amateur.
Yeah.
So the other thing I will say, I will always put guys on cards of promoters that are trying to do right. And by do right, they're also doing pro-ams. They're going to do pro shows. Because another thing that I have a problem with about promoters around here, and I get they don't want to lose money.
Yep.
Because you got to pay, but they have a tendency of staying amateur and they never get back and do pro. And so they'll again rape the sport and let these guys blood, sweat, and tears. And I've seen a lot of guys. There's not a lot of pro opportunity. That's why I go to Atlantic City a lot. I go into Lions Den. I'm always like my pros fight badasses because we're fighting local guys because we don't have a lot of because these the promoters locally aren't. And like I said, there's some of it I understand because a pro show is going to cost you more.
Sure.
But at some point, if you've had 50 pro shows and these guys, and you're not giving back, I have an issue with that.
So you're saying that they possibly are losing money doing pro shows?
It's you're definitely not going to make as much. It goes both ways. I'm going to say this. So because I've helped promote shows. Like I said, if there's a hat to wear in this business, I've done it. Sometimes begrudgingly, sometimes out of necessity, sometimes I wanted to. And there's it's kind of a symbiotic relationship.
Okay.
Because your value as a fighter is asses and seats. And I get there's no real motivation for an amateur to sell tickets, right?
Right.
So all of a sudden now they're pro. They've gone up the ranks and when I use the term pro loosely because there's also some pros out there that shouldn't be pro. Because we'll go barrier of entry. How do you become a pro fighter in this state?
Yeah. How?
Pay money, buy your license. You're a pro fighter.
Oh, geez.
You could be a pro. Paul, I don't think you've never fought MMA, right?
No, not MMA.
Okay, Paul, you could go be a pro MMA fighter right now. That's the barrier of entry.
That sounds so stupid.
All right. Well, that's why I said I wanted to use that term loosely. There's legit pros, and then there's guys that just I don't even know why. That's because they're going to have very shorter, dumb careers. I don't even know what without the experience and without the right. And nobody's going to go. I've had some pros that don't have great winning records or whatever, but it wasn't that they weren't prepared because that goes back to the there's the psychological part of the game and stuff, and zigged when they should have zagged or whatever. But there's people out there that should. They're not even good amateurs.
See, naive me. I go. Not knowing about how to go about doing that, I go, well, obviously you have X amount of amateur fights and you have to have X amount of wins and then you become a pro.
In a perfect world, yes. And some athletic commissions do that. Not PA's really hardcore. They're kind of like they're Greg Serb. Again, I actually like Greg. A lot of people don't like Greg. But I'll tell you a story. I had a really good wrestler named Mark Strickland, and badass wrestler at Oklahoma. Nobody wanted to fight this guy. He actually fought. It was his last fight. He trained some with Johnny Curtis. Ramos.
Elder.
Elder. And when he was wanted to go pro, nobody wanted to fight him. And so, once again, in Virginia, not a lot of opportunities. So we're like, well, we'll go up to PA. We got offered a fight in PA. And it was like trying to argue with illogical. They said, well, because he fought in Virginia as an amateur, we're not going to count any of his fights. So he has to fight up here as an amateur.
Jeez Louise.
What?
Come on.
No, this really happened.
Okay.
This is just some of the BS sometimes you just have to deal with. So he's like, so in my eyes, he has 0 fights. And I think he was 3-0, 4-0. Can't remember right now. So we are like, okay, we'll do this. And they give us an opponent. And he literally comes back and says, no, we're not going to take that. Your guy has too much experience. I'm like,
you just said.
What you just said is in your eyes, he has no experience to fight pro.
You can't have it both ways.
Yeah, that's one of those government bureaucracy things that kind of that was because I ain't talking shit about him because I don't want him mad at me.
Ahmad put Victorium. I don't know which one Ahmad was talking about. Is that the fight where Elder fought?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, yes. That's where Elder fought Strickland.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's it going to take? What sort of things? Because I mean, obviously, a guy like yourself who's dedicated himself so long in the martial arts and in MMA specifically to help this area become something, right? Something greater. What needs to be done in order to get to where you'd like to see the infrastructure here in this area?
I believe a real athletic commission. Period. Amateur, getting rid of all the amateur sanctioning bodies. Right now we have DPR, which is the Department of Professional Occupation Regulation, same people that do hairdressing and contractors running the sport. And, I've no problem with that, but it needs to have right now there's all this infighting, there's all this bullshit going on. We have to, I think that's one thing that kind of separates us from the states that are doing well. Is having a real athletic commission.
That's so funny. I'm actually a licensed tattoo artist here in Virginia, and I got my license through TPOR. The Department of. So
I got a just funny because most people don't know this, and I always get a kick out. I'm a licensed hairdresser.
I'm sorry. Can you say that again for me, Coach?
Well, it's funny. Can I call my wife down here because I think she's due for an appointment, man.
I haven't cut hair in years.
How the hell did you become that?
So when I was living in the Northern Neck out there, I started dating a girl that owned hair salons, and I went into business with her. So I've always been kind of entrepreneurial. So when I opened up a hair salon, it just kind of made sense for me to go ahead and get my license, and I've just kept it up. That's all.
That's hilarious, man.
That's awesome.
Quick story. I hate it. I can't style. I have no artistic ability. So when I did hair a very short time, I could clip or cut.
Yeah.
I could do that. So essentially, I was a barber that had a beautician license. So. Yeah.
So you're telling this is can you do a fade?
I spend years, but yes.
Hey man,
that's
awesome. That's a whole other part of his gym.
Yeah.
Where
I actually cut my front desk girl's hair Thursday morning. She had the side of her head shaved. I said, bring in clippers, so I took her outside and shaved her head up on Thursday.
That's awesome.
Look at Rick McCoy destroying stereotypes, man.
Yes.
Hairdressers are not always gay, man.
I thought I was slick. Yeah, because I was the only when I went to school. I was the only straight guy there.
Exactly. you were a what do you call it? You were a wolf in sheep's clothing in there, man. Those girls felt safe around you, and they should not have. That's hilarious, man. Wow. Does anybody know that? Do people know that?
Okay. I'm not afraid to say what I was
about to say. 2 exclusives in one podcast. This is great.
Yeah, I'm not afraid to. I'm very comfortable with who I am.
And I get that. And it's good in this sport.
Yeah,
it's
awesome. A lot of fakeness in the sport.
A lot of fakeness.
And people feed on ego. That's another thing I see, man. Especially promoters. I can see them trying to feed on, and I get, I had ego especially when I was younger fighting, and I see them preying on that. And that's another, all these titles, every fight, I see these promotions, every single time they have an event, they have a title fight for the same weight division of different people.
Yeah.
It's just all bullshit, smoke and mirrors.
They're kind of taking a page out of UFC, I think.
Well, no, UFC, if you get a UFC title, you're legit as shit.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, but just...
we're talking an O&O guy, find an O&O guy, so he can tell his buddy on Facebook that he has a title.
But it's just, the way UFC's been doing it...
I know the what do they call it, the interim. So I actually spent, was it last Monday, I spent 4 or 5 hours hanging out with Joe Silva at his house.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, and we were talking to some of that stuff about that, and he's not happy with that type of stuff either. But.
Yeah, because the interim title, it's okay, is this the guy, the champion or not? Is this the guy? Is this the gal or not?
It's business.
Yeah,
that's it. But if you're the UFC champion, you are legitly, if not the best guy in the world. Let's say there's what's the wrestler that was ONE FC, the Funk Master. You're good with names.
What weight class?
170.
Ben Askren?
Ben Askren, yeah.
You are an encyclopedia.
I know. That's why I'm asking you, and you think. Yeah.
I didn't think I could I didn't think I could pull that one because I'm not as familiar with the one organization. But yeah.
Rick, you saw me as soon as you started asking that question. I looked right at Paul.
I looked at Paul too.
Paul.
This is my sport, and I'm still terrible with names.
The Google of MMA, I swear. So you were talking about we need a real sanctioning body.
No, athletic
commission.
Yeah.
And what's it going to take to have a real one?
It's real simple. Everybody stop the BS and come together. It's just to have the people myself, Scott. There's the people that really care, Kaizen MMA. So
to truly focus on that. Truly focused and knowledgeable on that.
Yeah.
On that.
It can happen. It's going to have to be through legislation.
I was about to say, so how hard is it to create a sanctioning body? Like you have to go through all these.
It's not that hard.
Really?
No.
Huh.
Again, yeah. Again, there's sanctioning bodies here that the people who run it, they have no cred in the, you know, you ain't gonna call them up with it.
Yeah.
So is it going to take like somebody with some clout, you know, legislatively to go, hey,
Yeah, I can do it because I've helped with legislation before, and not just this stuff and other stuff I won't get into. So I know the process. It's just when you do it, everybody is going to look out for themselves. So a lot of promoters don't want it.
because it messes with their bottom line.
Yeah, well, it messes with they do whatever the hell they want.
And they don't have to work. They don't have to answer.
They don't have to answer. They don't care. Again, there's a lot of. If I'm gonna tell you, if right now, because it's going to happen in the next couple of years, if there's legislation gets pushed through and you're a promoter that's fighting getting an athletic commission, you're a piece of shit, and you are bad for the sport.
Yeah,
and you're gonna get called out.
Yeah. You see, I'm real hesitant to call people, and it's not that. I'm just not going to call them out because I don't want to deal with the headaches because I don't have the time, energy to deal with pieces of shit.
Man, we need a Terminator. We need somebody who just does not care.
I got some of them. I can sick my dogs on them. Then they're lucky I don't. They're lucky I don't. I got a huge network.
Yeah.
You know, I got a huge network of people, and I just, like I said, I don't have the time. I just don't have the energy. When I get people in my ear like, oh, so. I almost laugh it off, like I said, because almost 100% of the time they're nothing to me. Like they shouldn't be in the sport most likely, and they have no credit. They've probably never fought. They've never done anything. They're just trying to rape the sport.
So
and they're not worth my time.
There was one time that we were in Pennsylvania. We were fighting at the
Sorry, so I'm just whoever's fight game podcast would close half the amateur posers down. Yep, and those posers ain't going to be happy about it.
Yeah, I would imagine they wouldn't be. But there was when we were fighting, Neil had a fight in Pennsylvania at the Harrah's in Pennsylvania. Literally, by the way, across from a prison.
I've thought of that Harris. I mean, not me, but I've been there.
So we were in the back and we were warming up, and the guys in the back in the dressing room, we were kind of chatting with each other, and they were like, "Where are you guys from?" And they're like, "We're from Virginia." They're like, "Oh, okay. Do you guys have amateur fighters down there?" Yeah, we fight all the time, amateur. And he was like, some of these guys were like, "Yeah, we don't fight in Virginia." And we were like, "Why?" And they were like, "Y'all don't use like protection." Like, they were like, "Tell us about your rules." And I was like, "What do you mean rule? Like, we use unified rules, and it's just a shorter time." Yeah. And they were like, "So y'all fight with no shin guards or elbow pads?" And we were like, "No."
Well, we fight without them, yeah.
And people thought that Virginia was like the Wild West when it came to amateur MMA. They don't want to come here because of,
or people want to come here,
or people, you get both sides.
You get both.
They're like, I want it to be real. I'm gonna go down to Virginia to fight amateur.
It's a good I get both sides of it.
Absolutely.
I'm that guy. I can get both sides of political. We won't get political, but I can get both sides. I can see where people come from, and I will say this: because there is a bad thing about our rule set, and that is, especially there are people that get in, like I said before, like people that don't train, and fight. Say one of my guy who's trained to elbow you in the face.
Yeah,
and all of a sudden shit got real.
Yeah.
And sometimes the damage happens, right?
And this is how Scott Noble winds up on World Star Hip Hop, throwing a switch kick that knocks out the dude that I was cornering. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So, Scott Noble's like super highlight switch kick knockout.
Oh, yeah.
Was a guy that would...
If he stayed on his feet, it would have been better, so...
The dude had he was not prepared for that fight at all. He had no cornerman, nobody to wrap. He didn't have shorts. He didn't have a cup. He didn't have the mouthpiece.
I've stopped doing that, by the way. I used to be the nice guy. Like people come up, I don't have a corner. All right.
Yeah.
And so no, I won't do it anymore. I'm not even going to.
Because there's too many of those guys.
No, it's ebb and flow. Like
it's
ebb and flow. Like you won't see him, and all of a sudden you're like, where the hell all these guys come from?
Yeah. But I remember
A great movie came out prior to that.
Exactly.
They got all fired up.
I remember telling this guy in the back, and I was like, I've seen Scott fight before. So I was like, make sure your hands stay up. He's gonna kick for your head, dude. I'm telling you right now, you better keep your hands up. And I was like, keep your hands up, close distance. That's how you fight. And I asked him to repeat it back to me, and he did.
Repeat it back.
But as soon as he walked into the ring, he got into this.
You have comprehension. That's good. All right, you're ready.
So he gets in there, he gets in this super low stance, and his hands are like down by his stomach, and I was like, and it was me and Neil that were cornering him, and I was like, oh God, Neil, you see where his hands are? And he was like, man, this isn't gonna be good. Pow! And then we were like, oh, yep, we're done.
And out.
Highlight.
Highlight real stuff. So you actually have you have a kid fighting.
Yes.
You have Chelsea McCoy.
Yeah, hate it, love it.
Now, I saw some old pictures on your Facebook, when they were younger. When did she start training?
So funny thing, everybody so when she was coming up, she's really hard to get. Well, it's hard to get. So let's make this clear. It's hard to get female fights anyway.
Yeah.
So when she first started, she had zero experience, had hardly been trained. I couldn't get her a fight. Okay, I figured she'd been training her whole life because she's been around her whole life, right? So she did not start training. She's been up training maybe 5 years, 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
Now, she's ready. She's getting ready to go pro. So
How old is she?
25.
Okay.
25 years old, ready to go pro. And 25, I don't know. I know for men, they really start to hit their real strength and their real, what do you call it? Their potential around that age. Is it the same for women?
I think so. It's not. I don't have a lot. I mean, I've definitely had female fighters, but I don't have. It's like 500 to 1 males to female fighters over the years. So, I would say. I don't see there being much difference. I mean, I know their end time is kind of the same, so it kind of makes. Yeah.
When she was younger, grade school.
Bookworm.
Really? I was going to ask you, did you have this aspiration for her?
No, I never pushed her. Never. I was a single dad. I've actually had custody of her from birth. I had her mother signed her over to me. It was 3 days old. So, she just lived in the gym with me, and she was great. She never gave me any problems. She was a good kid. Not so much anymore. Just kidding.
Oh, Chelsea. Getting called out.
Come on now.
But
Coach Tony Waldecker's watching.
What's up, Tony?
Coach?
Hey, we actually have Tony coming in next month.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah,
that's gonna be.
He's coming in on the podcast as well. So Chelsea, having it I have a daughter. I have a 4-year-old, going to be 5 tomorrow actually, and
happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you. And she, I bought her last year. I bought her gloves and Muay Thai shorts.
That's awesome.
Kind of hard to find in her size, but I found it.
Yeah.
And she from the earliest age, I said, you're going to get into jiu-jitsu. It's happening. Your daddy never really got into jiu-jitsu, and it's something I wish I did. It's something that I think all young women should learn. Jiu-jitsu.
Agreed.
Absolutely. So I'm like, you're doing it. And at first she's like all about it.
Yeah.
And then now she's seeing princesses and ballerinas and things. She's like, no, I want to do that. I don't want to do your boys. I actually took her to a local gym to see girls rolling.
Yeah.
And it was mostly girls rolling with guys because again, not a whole lot of, there's a lot more guys in the sport. Mm. And she's like, oh, this is a boy thing. I don't want to do it. And, and it kind of breaks my heart because I want her to get into that.
Now, Coach, although you didn't push Chelsea into it, when did that start to shift for her?
She started dating the guy I told you about, my second in command, Brian Nelson. All of a sudden, and they started dating each other a little bit on the sly. Actually, to be further honest, he actually came to me. I kind of had an inkling that he actually was a man and said, "Hey, I want your permission," which was I thought another reason to love this guy. But that was it. It was like she kind of she started dating one of the guys, and
all of a sudden she's showing up in classes.
now she's showing up because she would because she off and on worked the front desk.
Yeah, I remember.
So every once in a while she would jump in a class, but we're talking when I once 6 months. So it was not, she wasn't training. And one of the reasons, like you said about jiu-jitsu, I always wanted to learn jiu-jitsu because I always kind of felt bad because I always had her at the gym, like,
Yeah.
especially before she got old enough, like, I felt like I'd leave her at home. So if she didn't want to do jiu-jitsu, whatever, she was a bookworm. Get her books, that's what she wanted to do, I just let her do it. And so it was kind of I don't want to say guilty conscience, but I was like, I want her to do it, but if she doesn't want to do it, I'm not going to push it all, because she already kind of deals with my fighting bullshit enough.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
But she's all in now.
Yeah, she's. I don't know if you saw her. Did you guys happen to see her last fight?
I didn't see it.
Did you see?
I
her?
saw the clips of it. Yes.
Yeah, it was quick. She. You don't want to be hit by her.
She came at this chick like a truck, dude. Oh my god. But yeah.
Yeah, she likes to hit you.
Did you see that? Did you see that? Did you see that? Have you always seen that potential in her?
No.
Wow, just out of nowhere.
Well, I've always seen this potential of tough. Like, as a kid, like I remember her falling downstairs, and she would bust her head open every time. She would look at me, get mad instead of cry. Like she started to cry.
I can't believe I just fell down the stairs.
No, she would start to cry, and I'd look at her. Like,
whoa.
She was that kid. Like, she didn't.
Okay.
So, funny story, actually. So, she was never trained, right? Mm-hmm. And I want to say she was I put her in private school most of her life, too. 3rd grade, 2nd grade, I get a call.
Uh-oh.
I guess this boy picked on her and pushed her down in the recess playground. She jumped on his back and rear naked choked him. Oh! And I've never shown her. She's just been around it, right?
It's almost osmosis at that point. If you're around it.
Yeah, I think she did. Like, for all that I say, she did not train her whole life. She was around it. And she was over there reading a book. But I'm assuming every once in a while she peeped up from her book.
Yeah.
Book and kind of took some of it in. So.
If you hang around the barbershop long enough, you're going to get a haircut.
That's right. That's right.
So.
That's right, and you are the sum of the people you hang out with. So
yes, Joanna and David are still instructing. But yes.
So she's looking to go pro. Is this a career thing for her? Or?
Definitely. She's all in. She's all in. Right now her last fight was a 8-person tournament for an Invicta fight. Mm-hmm. We're doing it for a couple of reasons. A, it's going to give her a little bit more experience. Because the thing is, say, Invicta is like the UFC. Well, now they actually have females in the UFC, so I can't say it. Sure. But before, females were allowed in the UFC.
Yeah, Invicta was the female show. Yeah.
So my thing with that, if you're a standout female, you're going to Invicta, regardless of this tournament or not. But it's kind of the quick path. So if she wins the tournament, she gets an Invicta contract.
The WCFL, is that?
Yeah, that's the tournament. It was WCFL.
That's the tournament, right? Okay, right. Cool.
World Class Fight League.
Yeah,
great. It's all the way down in Florida, and they have the kind of modified rules. They have the shin guards for amateurs and no elbows or knees to the head. But yeah, great. Raphael, great promoter.
Great promotion.
Wish they had more promoters like him up here. He's awesome.
I was just thinking, like, you ever get a case where somebody who's doing really well in another state, like Florida, is invited up to, say, Virginia, to be part of that echelon to kind of help it along, or do a good promotion? Do you guys see that, like, promotions happening in different states, but the same promotion?
Every once in a while, I just got hit up by American Fight League. They actually did a pro-am in Norfolk not quite a year ago, so it was last summer. And it's Elite American Fight League, and they're actually going to do kind of like a state versus state type thing, and they actually have a big CBS deal.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm pretty excited about that. Actually, they called me up to ask me to be the Virginia coach. So
there it is.
Yeah.
And you said yes.
And I said yes.
All right.
Another exclusive. There you go.
That's awesome. So that's going to be cool, man.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about that.
State versus state. I want that, because that's like,
we have some killers here, man. And I'm not just talking about my obviously, but man, that's what's been really bad. We've had a lot of killers come out of the state, but they just kind of went away. Either they had to move out of state because of the opportunities, or they just got frustrated because of lack of opportunity.
Yeah.
There's been, like I said, it's kind of like I was talking about, like when I came up, like it's kind of sad that some of those killers that I came up with aren't around, because
The opportunities.
The opportunities, and it's like, man, I gotta feed myself.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God. And it's already bad enough that fighters don't get their due anyway.
Yeah.
Even the pros don't get paid what they're supposed to get paid.
Yeah. It's a hard grind. You know, I get people that come in, and it's the why. Like, I know the majority of the people, the why back when I first started, back before it was popular, the why was for like your inner drive. There was the why a lot of times now is I want to be famous.
Yeah.
I want to do, you can tell like these guys that won't even fight on Facebook, you know, the Facebook famous wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
It was hard to get forum famous.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, the other day, the Fight Game podcast got I forget the name of the lady, but she contacted us and she said, "Hey, can you check out these videos that we're doing and tell us what you think?" And what it was is backyard MMA.
Backyard. Oh,
yeah. She said, "I'm like, I didn't want to be mean or anything and say, oh, this is you shouldn't be doing this." But I was like, maybe get the camera a little closer to the fight. I guess I don't know. I was giving her like technical camera like advice, but I'm thinking, how many of these things
are
going on? These like backyard.
I mean, it's definitely less and less. Like.
Did you compete in those things?
Well, they practically, but they were structured, but it was just what we had. They were very, you know, hell, I've probably fought in front of 50 people at that, you know, so like, it was just.
That's probably where you get a lot of these independent guys. They come out of something like that. They go, I'm good.
That's less. I mean, like nowadays, it's like Southwest Virginia. There's some crazy stuff going on in the hills of Virginia because it's just kind of like Southwest Virginia is like its own state. You have Virginia, you have West Virginia, then you have Southwest Virginia. You know, it's kind of like I don't even know what's going on down there.
It's like a kickboxer. They're wrapping up with hemp and like putting it in glass, and I mean they're doing crazy stuff, fighting on fire or something. Just some crazy shit going in the hills. I don't even want to think about what's going on in the hills, man.
There's craziness everywhere. I'm not picking on. I think I'm trying to think which state doesn't have any type of government governing bodies, and I think maybe Alabama still doesn't.
Oh, jeez. Oh, and I guarantee you, there's some rough and tumble people out there.
I'm trying to think. Like, 2018. We've finally pretty much nixed all that bullcrap.
That's good. So, you're being an instructor. One thing, back when I used to teach Muay Thai, when you train people, it's a lot harder for you to get your training in, especially at your level where you train a lot of people.
And that's kind of what happened. That's one of the reasons besides injuries and stuff, it was a natural progression into, a couple things. So when I opened my school, I wasn't retired. I was going to fight. That was my thing. And the thing about being a good instructor is really this simple. You got to be selfless.
Yeah.
And not that you have to be selfish to be a fighter, but most fighters are. And
that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, both of you guys are coaches. So a good coach is selfless. A good fighter, like I said, I definitely not promoting being a selfish asshole, but it has to be about you. So a best fighter is selfish, but selfish in that they're part of a team, and because one team, one dream is like a real deal. Because even though you step into a cage by yourself, you're not getting good by yourself.
Yeah, no doubt.
So
doubt about that.
what's the perfect, in your opinion? What's the perfect mentality and sort of bent a person should have in order to be a champion in this sport?
Be a student.
Yeah.
Show up and be a student. Who's an example? Okay, so I've trained some high level guy. Tom Lawler came to my gym already a UFC fighter, right? Mm-hmm. Definitely at that time more accolades than anybody in the gym. He was the best student. Like he never backtalked me. I said jump, he said how high.
Wow.
Man.
And that's why he was there.
Wow.
That simple.
And that's such a tightrope too, because it's like to have a storied career. It's like you almost, there's very few guys out there that don't have the reputation for talking game and being sort of that stereotype of I'm the badass and I'm the one, and having that almost arrogance to them. But then also the other side of the coin, where you, like you said, being like a GSP who he finds knowledge wherever he can find it, and with humbleness.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's like you got to have this self-belief to be a really good fighter, but you have to turn it on and off. So you have to, when you go in there, you feel totally prepared, like you've done everything, not necessarily know everything. And then when you get into training, you're humble and you don't know anything. It's like there's two hats you got to
absolutely.
You have to
that
wear
humility that you have to be a student, to be able to say to yourself, I don't know everything, and I need somebody who knows what I don't know to teach me.
So humility in the gym,
yes,
and then
arrogance in the cage.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a hard thing for people, because I get it both. I get some people that, like, they're great students, and then they can't turn that, like, they have this self-doubt, and they're not. Because a lot of self-doubt, when it turns, because the mental aspect, we can get into the mental aspects, are totally another huge thing in fighting. It's probably one of the most important things. Yes. But you self-doubt kills. Ego kills. So you have this conflict going on. Like, so one thing about a fighter, and sometimes it can be an attribute, I'll just say it as an attribute, is just firing first. Like, I have guys that won't even say my guys. I've seen guys that I know aren't that great, but they're beating people that are good because they don't hesitate. They fire. They get in there. They're they say punch first, hit first. That's their thing.
Yeah. And that's better, obviously. That's what you want.
You obviously, with you have a plan here.
If you're first, you're dictating the pace of the fight. You're dictating everything.
It's not. I'm not. Again, you got to have skills to go with that.
Sure.
But going out there and being first is a huge thing. Like I said, don't. It's controlled chaos. You got to control the chaos, and it's.
Can you teach? Can you not teach? Teach is the wrong word. Can you develop a killer instinct in someone? Can you develop that?
Man, you can nurture it. I do believe you kind of have it or don't have it, but it's more of a nurturing. Like, if you're starting really down here, I can't nurture it to be where it probably needs to be. Has to be at a certain level. I can nurture it up to a certain level maybe, but you either have it or you don't. That's one of those attribute things that.
How do you know
you don't?
If you really
you don't. I 23 years in MMA, and I'm surprised. Like, I got guys that they put in the time, and I'm like, man, I don't know if I want to put this kid in, but man, he's put in the work, and this is his dream. I got to put him in.
Yeah. And
I put him in, and holy shit, they're a killer.
Sometimes it takes the bright lights to turn it on.
Yeah, but they're game. They want it. They go out.
Yeah.
So it's
and on the flip side, I got this guy. I'm like, oh, he's a killer in the gym. I cannot wait to unleash this monster.
Yeah.
I'm
gonna cut him loose and close the cage door and hope for the best for the other guy.
Yeah, and sometimes it's mediocre at best.
That's a heartbreaker. What a heartbreaker.
But it's like I said, I'm always. It's like betting on MMA.
Yeah.
Like, I know very few people, and not to brag, that have been in the sport longer than me. Like 20. Like, like I said, because most people get disenchanted, especially back in my time. Mm-hmm. Don't ever ask me for advice on betting. You might want to do the opposite. Because
Coach Rick will pull out a coin and literally go.
Yeah, this sport is so brutal. There's so many things that can happen. Like boxing. You got to be good at one. You got footwork, stuff, but you got hands. You only have to worry about two things running into you.
Yeah, or getting bit.
Yeah. Well,
sometimes.
Yeah. But in MMA, it's talk about chaos, and you're trying to control that chaos. You're trying to dictate the pace, And you can be I mean, I've seen it, man. I mean, I can have a fighter go into the third round. We've won both rounds, and I'm looking across at that dude, and I see that dude that he's fighting still game. I'm like, you better be careful because I've seen it. I've seen you that you're the better fighter, and then he get caught. I've seen him, you know.
So like what they say for football, any given Sunday.
But that's even more so, like there's nothing like. That's why it's probably the popularity. Like people. Like this fighting's primal, and I think that's part of the thing. But like you can't bet on there is more upsets in MMA than there is any other sport. You can't tell me another sport there's not more true. Like if there's a sport that's bet on, true underdogs winning.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's
which
the best person doesn't always win.
Which keeps it. I mean, you're always going to have a fan base in that case. I think because people are always looking for that.
Well, that's why. Like when you get John Jones, like why it's so impressive. Like he has like, well, I guess his loss was the down. That wasn't a loss to Matt Hamill.
Yeah,
like you got a guy fighting the best guys in the world and going undefeated. So St. Pierre to me, like a lot of people thought he was boring. At his time, the most well-rounded best fighter in the world.
Right.
Not the most exciting. He go out there, but he had Olympic level wrestling, highest level striking, and great jiu-jitsu. I mean, he saw Paulo pass BJ Penn, which supposedly at the time had an unpassable guard. He had everything, and he lost. He lost to Matt Serra. Like, and Matt Serra was good. I'm not saying that. But
on paper, though.
Yeah, on paper, it was a no-brainer. I mean, it was the comeback show that Matt won to get that fight. It was the people that weren't in the UFC were going to fight other guys that were kicked out of the UFC to fight the champion.
That's right.
And boom.
Jeez.
Knocked out.
The right hand that shocked the world.
And knocked out by a jiu-jitsu guy. I mean, Matt.
Yeah. Very true.
It's just a brutal sport.
Oh, and we love it. We absolutely love it.
And it's awesome. You got to have a mindset that's different than most sports to do well.
Yeah. So, I was alluding earlier to you not being able to train as much for yourself, but you're in shape, and I see you. I see what you're doing. What does your week look like as far as with the business, but also with keeping healthy yourself?
Myself, I have me time.
Oh yeah?
Oh yeah, I have me time. I actually go to another gym, CrossFit gym, CrossFit pushing weight. It's actually like 25 minutes outside. It's out in Powhatan, Virginia.
Okay.
I go out in the woods.
Yeah, no kidding.
Rocky style now. Yeah.
And you go out there and
I just do I have one of the, well, actually now he takes jiu-jitsu but he owns, like we trade off, he owns that gym. And I go out there,
How often do you do that?
3 times a week.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. What about your diet? Are you still looking at your diet, or do you care?
I do. My diet is just not being an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't.
That's harder for most people.
Yeah. I know.
Present company included.
Yeah, me too.
Because obviously, especially my regular student, I get questioned by even my fighters about diet and stuff. And my first thing is, before you get on a diet, do you know what's bad for you? Absolutely, you do. Stay away from that. Then come talk to me.
There you go. Start off with the easy stuff.
Yeah, stop it because a real diet and most people's diet is a structured thing, and people can't handle but so much structure in their life.
Yeah.
Right.
Like over time, like that's why diets fail. So I'm like, is soda good for you? No. Is potato chips good for you? Is fast food? Cut that out. And if you can do that for probably 3 months, you're going to see a difference. And maybe at that point you'll kind of stall out. Then we can kind of tweak it.
Yeah.
So I don't do that. Like I just stay away. I know what's bad and I limit it. So I'm not like when I fought at 170, and I had 5% body fat at one point. Those days are not coming back.
No, that's tough, man. That's tough. There's 2 things. When we interview people, there's 2 things that really interest me. It's when you know you're done with fighting. What is the experience when you finally go, all right? Because it's the hardest thing for fighters to stop.
So I don't know if you probably knew this, but I was going to fight Shoney Carter like 2 years ago. Did you hear this?
No, I didn't hear this.
Yeah, so I was done, and I have some friends over in Russia, and they did the Draka event.
Yeah, I remember Draka.
Draka. All right, so they did that event, and they said, "Hey, we're going to come back," and they actually were going to say, "Do you want to fight? We'll come back if you want to fight." And and then they talked. Well, we can get Shoney Carter to fight you. So I was all in. Like,
okay.
I was actually so I'm all in. I'm getting ready to fight, and Shoney pulled out. Yeah, that's right, Shoney Carter.
Boo.
Yeah, he said he hurt his thumb or some shit.
Sure, he did.
Yeah. and what sucked about it, even more so than that, because I tortured myself to get back in fight shape, but worse than that, they were kind of building the show around me, and they canceled the whole show when Shoney pulled out. So that kind of, they were going to do a pro show. So once again, it goes back to the opportunities. So not only does Shoney screw me, he screwed all the pro fighters around here. That's right.
Jeez.
I'm calling you. I ain't calling anybody. I'm calling you out. That pissed me off.
So what I learned from that is that you're always game for a fight.
Oh, it was a right fight. I mean, he's close to he's super expanded. He had way more fights. I had 200 some plus fights, counting all this stuff.
Yeah.
But not even arrogant. I'd beat his ass.
There you go. Just tell him the truth, bro.
Hey. That's awesome.
So okay. So there's the answer to my question. I'm like, he hasn't stopped. He's still.
Well, I have stopped. I've stopped.
I don't know.
Like after that, I'm like, all right, this is it.
Yeah,
that's it.
That's it.
But that's tough. That's very hard for somebody who wraps their identity around being a fighter.
So that will go back to, like I said, me and Joe Silva had a long discussion about this last Monday, and I won't say names, but he's friends with a lot of guys. He's retired now, and he talks about how some of the guys are really bitter.
Yeah.
And
what do you mean bitter?
Bitter, like they're broken. They didn't make a lot of money.
Yeah.
The sport really didn't get back to them, essentially.
Okay.
And they're, say mid-30s. They're done. They don't have a future in the UFC anymore.
Yeah.
And what do they do now?
Yeah, what do you do?
Because, this was their college or whatever, and they didn't make, they weren't, so we're obviously talking people that were in the UFC, but that weren't not superstars. They didn't make their millions. So, yeah, they're bitter. They're bitter at the UFC. They're bitter at MMA. And I kind of told him, I was like, you know what? I'm not bitter. I had, I never fought in the UFC. Actually, he set up a couple fights. Matt Hume, I was supposed to fight Matt Hume twice.
Jeez.
Matt Hume?
Really? Joe Silva set it up. Okay. That was my way into the UFC. So, because obviously Joe Silva, I was like, hey, when the hell am I going to get in the UFC? He's like, at that time, Matt Hume was, what's the big heavyweight he had? Not Mighty Mouse, obviously. He was a UFC champion, then left the UFC. Josh Barnett.
Okay.
They're having a contract dispute with Josh Barnett, and literally, I hope he doesn't like that. He said that he says to me, "I'm going to set up a fight between you and Matt Hume. I don't give a shit if you take a steel pipe in there, you beat him, I'll give you a full 4-fight contract." Like they hated him, so they set me up to fight Matt Hume. And literally, so I'll tell you the story on this. So the fight was, I think it was AFL. It was going to be down in Florida. And literally 4 days before the event, because this is earlier 2002, 2003, so before Facebook and before YouTube and stuff. So literally I get a phone call, and Matt Hume hadn't fought in a few years, and it's like, hey, Matt found out you were really tough. He wants to do a warm-up fight before he fights you, and we'll move the fight back like 3 months. And he ended up fighting is it Sean Peters from Canada? I don't know if you know who he is. So the next fight is going to be in his hometown out in Washington State at Silver Rock Casino or some crap like that. So like I said, this is literally 3 or 4 days before I'm supposed to fight him. It literally says, well, we want to now have a warm-up fight. Oh, I have stories like this for all day. I was supposed to fight Dwayne Ledwig, and he pulled out on me 3 days before the fight.
Oh, my God.
Bang.
Pulled out on me. I will say this. Even though I was pissed off, he pulled out to fight Ramon Decker.
Oh, you got to fight Ramon Decker. Okay.
I was still pissed.
Yeah.
I mean, he signed this. I mean, as far as I knew, the fight was on. And So then, he fought Ramon Decker, and we all know how that turned out for him. So, and actually, I've seen Dwayne a few times. I've been out to Muscle
Colorado.
Farm, and he's out there.
Okay.
Man,
And we're cool, but yeah.
that's incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Very storied life.
That's actually, I don't know if that's...
Now I know who the Fight Game podcast is. He just said Rick tries to fight during business meetings. I know exactly what he's talking about.
Now you know? Okay. keep that under your hat. Well, so, going forward, right, you're developing fighters. I know we're getting near to the end of the show, so I want to ask you, how much of your time, because you got to do both. You gotta have people come in and give people that aren't going to become, professional fighters.
That's my bread and butter.
Your bread and butter is people coming in and training.
Absolutely. Like the majority, God, it's probably definitely less than 10% of my student body is fighters. And it's better that way.
Right. You're not wasting your time as much on people that may not be serious.
It's not even about time, because they're just as valuable. In fact, they're more valuable because they're the ones that are keeping the lights on. It's just different. Like I said, I do the morning, and that's the fighters, and like I said, the nighttime is there's regular classes in the morning too, which I do, and the regular students, and I just call them civilians.
That's good. I like that.
The civilians
come in.
And civilians are definitely just as important as the fighters, if not more important. Like I said, the fighters, they take up my time. I'm travel all the time. I don't get paid for that.
Right.
That's I do it because that's. But I always said this. Like I have mentioned my friend that owns a lab in Fredericksburg.
Yeah.
He has the skill sets, he could do it, but he would rather just focus on that, because fighters, like I said, they don't make you money. You do it. You are a fight gym. If you're a legit fight gym, you do it because you love it. You're an idiot if you do it for money.
John Scott, he said, anybody that tells me they want to get rich doing this, I tell them, don't do this then.
Yeah. It's not, it's part, for me and MMA Institute, it's part of our identity, and people come there because, I want to train next to the fighters, and that's part of the experience of coming to my gym. You get to train, the guy holding pads for you in the class might be a professional fighter. Cool. But that's just part of the experience. My gym is open for civilians, and I'm a fight gym. And if you try to make a fight gym only, you will have your lights shut off and your doors closed quickly.
Business, it's funny. I'm in my business is in the production world. And there's a lot of similarities. Like, for instance, our best actors and production people, eventually they get to a point where there's not as many opportunities. They move to New York, they move to LA, they move to Atlanta, they move to Philly, because that's where the big movies and the big TV shows are being filmed.
And that's what I've tried to do here. And it's
create that here.
That's what I've been trying to. That's exactly what I've been trying to create. That's exactly like I have the largest true team in the state, and it's not by accident.
Yeah, a lot of work,
and a lot of pain in the ass. And I could just give it up, and it's not going to hurt me business wise. But again, I'm hard headed.
Right, and you love it,
and I love it.
So, do you have any fighters right now that are, besides Chelsea, that are really making a real push for UFC?
A little young yet. Right now, we're kind of we just got a new guy. I'm actually kind of excited, but he didn't show back up. Greg Hardy, you know who he is, a football player?
Greg Hardy?
Yeah, he got in a lot of trouble in the NFL, but he's a super heavyweight. He showed up last week and said he was going to be in this week, but he didn't come in. But he's a mon, just an athletic freak, and he's a heavyweight. And that's one of the reasons I'm excited about him, because as we all know, the heavyweight division is weak. So it's so easy. If you're actually, that's kind of the prerequisite of being an amazing. Being a Nagano, just be an athletic freak, and that's what obviously you got to get some skill sets in there, but
yeah,
so he did uppercut Overeem, sold a lot of them.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did, and Overeem is definitely not a bum.
Yeah,
no, not at all. That's cool. Going forward, where do you see, like, what are your next big moves? Are there any? I
can't tell you all that.
Oh, yeah.
All the haters will come out.
Yeah, I hear that. Well, I guess
I've kind of been on this. I have been doing like a lot of like self improvement stuff. So I mean, I told you about the Cambo. I don't know where I get on that. When I burn the frog poison in.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We didn't talk about that.
Well, we'll get in that. 2 weeks from now, I'm doing Landmark Forum. I don't know if you know what that is. 2 weeks after that, I'm going out to On It. Getting hooked, and I'm one of my goals here shortly is so I'm going
On It, a sponsor of the Righteous Anger podcast, another great podcast for you to check out.
Actually the guy I told you I just did was on their podcast, Brandon Bletsoe, who does the Barbell Shrug. He's actually sponsored by On It.
That's what's up.
Big time. I'm not even going to tell his numbers, but I'm like, holy crap, I got to get in the podcast business.
Yeah, I hear that.
But
let me get his number. I could learn a couple of things.
He's actually going to be in. He actually teaches people how to do podcasts.
Oh, really?
Oh, he's going to be in Richmond. He's in France right now. But he'll be in Richmond.
He has like a master class or something.
Yeah, he's the man. You look him up.
I'm gonna have to take that class, man.
Yeah, he's definitely a man. But I'll be out there with him at Paleo FX and a good buddy of mine, Mark. And I'm also, besides getting plugged in with On It, I'm gonna get plugged in with 10th Planet.
Cool.
So
Eddie Bravo's.
Eddie Bravo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Cool.
One of my personal goals is so I'm going to do this for myself, and it'll also help business. Is I want to go be a student, and start over, and get my black belt in 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu.
Oh man,
wow.
He's gonna learn the rubber guard.
Yeah. My big ass is going to try to figure that out. I used to be flexible. Those days are a little bit gone as well. That 170 flexible guy, I don't know what the hell happened to him.
That'll be a good connection, I think, especially with Eddie Bravo, and then of course
those guys.
Joe Rogan and all those guys.
I watched a fight with one of Eddie Bravo's black belts. I can't remember.
Ben Saunders?
No, not Ben. It was another guy. It was he fought Randy Couture's son.
Okay, yeah.
And
I went golfing with him. Randy Couture's son.
Randy?
Well, no, actually, I used to train with Randy.
Is it Ryan Couture?
Ryan, yeah.
I watched him fight Ryan, and it was crazy. Like, you see like the whole like Randy's, wrestling versus like a 10th Planet. Jiu-jitsu
totally different.
Yeah,
totally different.
It's just totally different, and you're like, they're both grapplers, but yeah, this is about as different as grappling as you can get.
And it's one of those things is what it's just like jiu-jitsu when it started.
Mm-hmm.
If you didn't know, it was like taking candy from a baby, and Eddie's kind of made this style. Like I wouldn't say it's better for MMA by any means or anything, but a lot of you got to learn how to defend it.
Yes, absolutely.
Like you don't know until you know type style, and he's kind of tweaked some things, and some of these guys have. It's just like that's when we were talking about evolution. It's some of these. There is a little evolution of the jiu-jitsu over there.
Sure.
And if you fight an Eddie Bravo guy, you better
understand.
Yeah, you better understand it. It's not even that because it's just like shutting down anything. If you understand it, it's not that hard to shut it down. But if you don't see it coming, you don't see it coming.
Yeah.
Wow. I was going to ask you about the frog thing that you were telling us about.
So I'm on this like discovery self. I'm also I'm gonna go back. Well, in the works now. Getting my MBA next year as well.
Oh, good, cool.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Yeah,
for you.
Yeah. So it's not psychoactive or anything. So everybody's like, oh, it's like ayahuasca. No. So it's called Cambo, and it's like a clean. I feel, and I always sell this terribly, so I'm gonna start out with this.
How do you spell it?
Kambo.
Okay, so for all you guys looking it up online, there you go.
Go to Cambo Cleanse.
Cambo Cleanse. Okay.
I think it's CamboCleanse.com.
Okay.
And that was the shaman that actually administered it to me. His name's Simon. He's amazing.
Okay.
So so we're actually going to bring him out. If anybody's interested, we're going to bring him out to Richmond as well.
Okay.
So it's. I feel amazing. I was out in Arizona a few weeks ago, and so I'm going to start out with I feel amazing. Like it was life changing. Now let's go to how awful it was.
Okay.
So it's the end effect that why I did it. So the process is they take a twig and they heat it. It's something that obviously holds heat, and they stick it on your skin and burn holes in your skin.
And you got the scars or
I
whatever.
do.
Right now.
You can see the.
Look at that.
Yeah, it goes on
I don't know if you guys can see that but he's got red dots on his shoulder.
Hey, Sam. So most people start there. You let somebody burn you, I'm out.
And I'm done.
And I'm out. So Cambo is I'm not sure of the scientific name. So Cambo is from the Amazon, poison frog dart. The little colorful frogs from the Amazon.
Right.
I can't remember what they're called, but
Yeah,
I know which one you're talking
and
about.
they harvest the poison off of them. And they don't actually harm the frogs when they harvest. It's funny how they harvest is they take a stick, but they spit on them. But their natural defense is saliva. So when a predator tries to eat it, saliva, it excretes this poison.
Okay.
So when they're harvesting it, they actually the use tribesmen. That's how they spit on the frog, and then they take a stick,
scrape it off,
and it's like a mucus.
Ew. Okay. All right. I'm still here. Continue.
I'm trying to sell because it was an amazing experience, and I feel great a couple weeks after. So they burn and then they wipe it over the burns, and this is how you administer it. It is. I've never taken anything, a shot included, even gas for taking out, that it hits you almost immediately.
Wow.
And it's like getting the flu times 100.
Jeez.
And you hate your life. It is terrible, and you vomit. And you get violently sick. There's nothing fun about this. But it lasts about 30 minutes. And then, it's like this crazy peak. And all of a sudden, it's when you think you're going to die, you start coming down. And it's there, even though you still feel terrible, you're just so thrilled. And I did this 3 days in a row.
What? 3 times?
And I haven't felt this good in years.
Okay, so what's the science behind it? What is it supposed to do?
They've been doing so. The tribes, they would do this every time they would go out on big hunts. This is what they would use for their warriors. They've been doing it for thousands of years.
Okay.
So Western medicine really hasn't. There's not a lot of science behind it in Western medicine because, it's like marijuana. There was no science behind it for years because Western medicine is all about the pharmaceutical bullshit.
Right.
So for thousands of years in the Amazon, they've been using this for their warriors for cleansing and making them badass warriors.
Okay, so you're saying that this is more of a mental thing than it is a physical thing?
To get through it. No. No. Yeah, I think mental and physical are kind of tied together in a lot of aspects.
Sure.
But yeah, it's definitely.
But you're saying
I feel better. I'd say mentally if you're gonna, but that translates to physically too for me.
Yeah.
So what is it? What has it helped?
It's like clarity. It's like a cleansing for your soul.
Okay.
Okay.
Going through hell basically, and because I'm trying to wrap my head around this.
Most people do. I don't get it, and I'm not trying. When I say I try to sell it, this is not for everybody. And everybody thinks I'm nuts, but
it's kind of like in Thailand when you're training in Thailand, and you get used to the heat.
Yeah.
Training in heat.
Yeah.
When you get your water's hot. When you don't get the relief, so that when you do fight, the fight's no problem.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. Like I don't know if you saw on the that I shared of yours, the post about this podcast. One of my old students was on Naked and Afraid, and I've been
Really?
Oh, I saw the comments from that. I was going to ask you about that.
So I've been actually talking to him about trying. Like he has a contact. I want to do that.
Yeah.
So that's
to do the show.
Yeah. That's all. I seek out things to prove to myself. Like I kind of thrive in discomfort.
Yeah.
And
It's a great way to be, by the way.
Who's the Joe Rogan guy? The guy that went on Joe Rogan a couple of times. He's like Norwegian or something, and he says
Wim Hof?
Yeah, Wim Hof. Have you gotten into that?
I have. That's funny. I actually had a Wim Hof seminar at my gym,
Oh, cool.
Have you gotten into that yet?
Yeah, yes. I actually have a real good friend, Brandon Powell, who is a Wim Hof, one of his few instructors, is a real good friend of mine that I do stuff with. Yeah.
And to kind of explain to people, Wim Hof is a guy who he says his master is the cold.
Yeah, let me tell you, there's levels to this shit.
Okay.
And I'm a baby when it comes to that. Like it's because a lot of it's breathing. So, like I can't sell Wim Hof good enough to you. Look him up if you don't know who he is. They call him the Iceman. Like he did Everest barefoot. Like people can't do that. Like he'll go sit in ice where most people would die for. Like he can hold his breath for like 5 minutes and going under.
And the thing that he trains is he has a breathing method.
It's all breathing, yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's crazy. That's the next level stuff. That's the stuff that Joe Rogan.
I got introduced to that like a year and a half ago, and it's awesome stuff too. Like the same people that introduced me to that introduced me to Cambo. Strangely enough.
And you did it out in Arizona.
Yeah, yeah.
Is there something like that in this area, in the DC area?
We're bringing it.
It'll be here in Richmond.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
pretty soon.
Yes.
That's cool. Check that out. Do you have a blog or your own podcast or something where?
That's why you just get all the secrets.
You got such an interesting, like, not just life, but also kind of you're getting into some really interesting stuff, and I think people should know that.
It's just beginning.
Just starting out.
Oh yeah, like I said, that's kind of my new thing. So it's just beginning.
We're gonna have to keep in touch, man, because I'd like to have you on again, obviously, but also to kind of let people know what you're doing and how it's working for you. Okay. Like this combo thing. Cambo thing. Yeah. It like that. Is this something that it's a one and done, or do you do this?
No, it's a lifetime. It's a lifestyle. Like I'm not like there's different ways of doing it. Like some people like doing the 3 days thing. Like I'll tell you this, every day. Like the first day I was a little excited. Every day, and I felt great afterwards. Like I said, it was 30 minutes of hell and then maybe an hour of recovery. And then the rest of the day, I felt amazing. Like It's like instant. But every morning, you had to fast before Simon came over. We had an Airbnb. Every morning, I was like, son of a bitch.
Oh, boy.
Man.
This again.
Just dying at that point.
But I'm so glad I did it. It's such a weird thing. It's like, as much as I hated it, it's like the opposite effect of how much I think it did for me.
Was there a specific reason why you did it 3 times in a row?
That's what we went out there with 6 people, and Mike Bledsoe, that's the guy that does a he was out there, his wife, and it was just, we were just going all in. That was kind of the thing. Like it's I think it is a thing, but it's not for the faint of heart. And most people won't have the balls to do it.
Not Rick McCoy. He's got them.
Yeah.
And apparently we're going to...
Big brass ones, by the way.
Yeah, and you're going to get to see him soon on Naked and Afraid.
I hope that's definitely... it's on my bucket list. I'm putting it out in the universe. I definitely want to be on Naked and Afraid.
Do you mind me asking how old a guy you are?
47.
Man. About to hit the big 50, and you're doing things now, and
yeah.
That's crazy. That's great. You said you're what, 41?
40. I'll be 41 this year.
41 this year? Got a couple of young looking guys in here, man. I swear. I gotta do what y'all are doing. Maybe not the combo. I don't know if I'm gonna do the combo.
Do the Wim Hof, do the combo.
I gotta get into that Wim Hof though, for real, because a lot of people are talking about how amazing it is.
Yeah,
I'm actually intrigued with the Cambo stuff.
It's awesome. Man, if you're interested, when he's in town,
okay.
I mean,
are you gonna tell people like Facebook it before?
I probably will. Maybe I'll just put the little emoji frog.
Okay,
like the bat signal.
Yeah,
little secret
bat signal with a Thundercat symbol.
That's right. All the freaks come out. Come on out. Yeah, it's time.
It's Cambo time.
Cambo
time. Here we go.
Just a bunch of people. You can have hurl buckets all over the gym.
Yeah.
Just
so there
I'll
was
bring mine.
So yeah, that was the other thing. There was people posting. That was the other thing. I had to go ahead and just tell people, because people I was with were posting like, "Why are you guys hanging out with a bunch of buckets?"
Well,
an interesting story about that.
Cambo is dirty business. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
God, knowing me, I'd like crap myself. I'd do it. And be
no, that's not part of a thing. I mean, he actually said if you need, because during the process also, because he brought an assistant to help, like you're not moving. So he said if that was a problem, they'd help you to the bathroom. But I never saw that. Nobody had
No
that
issue.
problem.
I'll be the first one though.
We kind of fasted before as well.
Yeah.
So you don't have
Lots
anything.
Lots of water though. Like it was like we were in fact you were just chugging water before.
And which is good right there. I mean, just getting all that water intake
Yeah,
is good
because
too.
you don't want to puke up stomach acid. You're gonna
Yeah.
puke.
Oh man, that's crazy. Video, by the way. Next time you do it, videotape it.
Okay, so I'm gonna show you, but I'm not gonna. I want to.
Oh, you got video?
No, I'm gonna show you. I'm on this, but I'm just gonna show you the aftermath.
It's a bucket, a full bucket.
Yeah.
No, so you swell up. I'm not gonna put this out for the world, but you're gonna.
All right.
Leo, do you have?
Charger.
This is all right. This is how swole up I was.
Whoa.
Yeah, just don't put that on camera.
Yeah.
I look like a freak.
Oh, geez.
Yeah,
You should see the other guy.
right.
Yeah, Rick is about twice the size of his face is twice the size of his face now. So that's pretty.
Yeah.
That's insanity. And that's the poison and stuff is
Yeah, yeah.
in you, and it's your
You
body
swell,
reacting
yeah.
to it.
I actually swell worse than most of the people there. Everybody had a little swelling. My earlobes got big. I was like, what the hell?
Am I dying? Well, listen, Rick, I know on behalf of me and Paul,
100%.
for sure, we were so excited to have you and so happy
My
that
pleasure,
you
man.
made the 2-hour trip up here to be on the show. One thing I think, people are going to look at this episode and I think they're going to. I think you're the type of guy they're going to want to see more. So just letting you know.
Yeah, anytime, man. Yeah.
It-
But I'm putting myself out there a little bit more. Just
You hear that? Do you hear that? That is a common thing now with you guys. Because Scott and Sean and we've stayed in the shadows.
Yeah, it's time. We and Scott have had this conversation. Actually, it's time for us to pop back up and say what up.
That's right. Good. Because we need that authenticity, realness, real people, not the posers that we talked about earlier. People that are raping and pillaging, but people that are actually contributing to everything. So you couldn't be here at a better time, and I'm excited to see
Thank
what
you for having me.
I'm
Appreciate
excited to see what you're going to do, man. We're going to be following you. So
Right on.
this was guys. Thank you guys for watching as well on YouTube. Thank you for watching on Facebook Live. All the fans out there, and if you guys want to help keep this type of thing going on, there's different ways you can support. But the most important way is to like, subscribe.
And share.
Definitely, please share this podcast.
We had quite a few people share.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keep that going because that's the way that we're able to bring guys like Rick on the show. They're going to take out some time out of their valuable schedules to come talk to us and talk to you guys. So the only way that can happen is if more and more of you guys are watching and getting stuff out of this. So we don't want to be talking to an empty room, obviously. So come on out. And, other ways that you guys can support the podcast is by setting up killers that can come in on the show and choke or beat up Paul.
Dude, why? Why me? Why does it have to be me?
So we're gonna do this after the cameras.
After the cameras, I'll have a GoPro. That's for my GoPro.
That's for special content on YouTube.
That's right. You got to pay. You got to pay for that.
Yeah.
But actually, let me ask you this before we sign off. What do you think of this idea? I want to get because there's a lot of personalities in this fight game here, especially in this area.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people in this area that have beef that needs to get settled. What if there was a show where they settled it there on the show, and there just happened to be a cage or a ring or
I
something?
would love it.
Would that be good?
Please.
Okay. You heard it here first, guys. Rick McCoy gave it the
There we
stamp of
go.
approval, baby.
Here we go.
Yeah, I can't wait, man. We're looking at that, and that's another reason I want more people supporting the show is because we're looking at getting a
Actual studio
a
space.
dedicated studio space
Nice.
and a big studio space where we can do have guys show us techniques and things, have people come in, maybe have a little bit of an audience, stuff like that. So trying to grow it. But
Awesome.
once again, guys, thanks for listening. Thank you, Rick, for coming on the show.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Paul, thank you for being on the show.
Absolutely.
And guys,
Loving it.
Best dressed man in pod.
please.
best dressed and super coach, Paul.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, guys, stay tuned for the next one. Again, keep your Facebook tuned and be on YouTube. I didn't even say it. It's YouTube / The Fight Game Podcast. So that's how you can find it. Oh, and we finally launched our website. So for you guys that don't want to wait for the iTunes, you guys don't want to wait for the Stitcher, you guys actually want to see video, definitely go on thefightgamepodcast.com. It is now up. So we got a website too.
Okay, right on.
There you go. Thank you for listening, guys. Thank you for watching. Peace out.